The brand new FIA GT series roars into action this weekend in France at the Paul Armagnac circuit in Nogaro. A packed grid of stellar cars, teams and drivers will compete throughout 6 rounds of 2013 in order to be the FIA GT series champion. There will be 3 classes this season: Pro Cup, Pro-Am Cup and Gentleman's Trophy. And one man who's definitely entering the Pro Cup is Sebastien Loeb, the 9-times World Rally Champion, will be out in a McLaren.
My hope is to improve my driving on racing. For sure I don't have a lot of experience. We are in an international championship with a lot of very good drivers, so it will be for me important to see where I am in this high level and try to improve my driving.
Seb will be joined in his McLaren MP412C by factory McLaren driver Alvaro Parent. Meanwhile, in the sister car, Mike Parisi will be joined by Andreas Zuber, and together should be challenging for the Pro Cup. HTP Gravity Cheroux have entered 3 Mercedes SLSs for this season. In car number 1 is Maximilian Buch.
I try to fight for some points, of course. I try to be top 5 every weekend, but I'm quite confident and satisfied that we can fight for some points and having a good championship.
Alan Day will be Buch's teammate. Afanasiev and Andreas Simonsen are in number 2, and car number 3 is driven by Petr Cherouz and Jan Stovacek. A great addition to the series are Phoenix Audi. The winners of last year's Nürburgring 24-hour race will field an Audi R8. Enzo Eid and Anthony Kumpen will be the drivers.
The Audis should be strong here. We saw now in the dry conditions that the McLarens are really strong, and the wet, the Audis were strong, so we will see. The weather conditions will change, but we are quite confident that we will be quite good.
Continuing the Audi theme are WRT. They're fielding 3 R8s this year with Laurence Vanthor and Stefan Ortelli in the number 11 machine.
This championship, the sprint series, is really something we are looking forward with Laurence Vanthor, my teammate. Not only because we won the Blancpain series, but because it's really something we have to improve. We have to be better. The teams did a very good job during the winter for practicing pit stop. All the teams know better this championship. Don't forget that last year there were some very strong teams who had much more experience than us in the sprint series. So definitely we want to do well.
René Rast and Nicky Meyer-Melnoff will compete in the 12 car in the Pro-Am Cup, whilst the other pro entry will be Frank Stippler and Edward Sandstrom. Another strong entry in the Pro Cup is the Door McLaren of Daniel Kilvitz and Nicholas Kenetich. Kenetich is aware it's going to be a tough season.
It's a new car for me. It's my first time this weekend in the car. We have never testing before. It's the first time with this team and the first time in this series. And yeah, I hope we can make a good start this weekend. And then we must look what's the next races.
The German squad will be hoping to make a good impression this season. There's a strong Brazilian presence in the FIA GT series this season, coming from BMW Team Brazil, using a range of international and national motorsport stars, including ex-F1 driver Ricardo Zonta.
This weekend, the first practice, I had some problems with my car, so I did only 5-6 laps, and it's been quite difficult for me and for the Jimenez, the second driver, to adapt to this car. It's a new car for me, especially.
Zonta will be joined in car 21 by Sergio Jimenez, whilst car 0 will see 5-time Brazilian stock car champion Caco Bueno race with Alan Coder. The second Brazilian entry this season comes in the form of a pair of Ford GTs from Road Drive. Claudio Ricci will be driving the number 7 car, alongside him, Matthias Stumpf.
We think it's a big championship with big names here. We have other Brazilians here too, and it will be nice for all around the world that we can do a very good job here.
The second car will enter the Gentleman's Trophy. Rajan Mascarello and Felipe Tozzo at the wheel. Seyfarth Motorsport will enter 1 Mercedes SLS this year for Jan Seyfarth and ex-Formula 1 driver Karun Chandok, who's looking forward to having a roof over his head.
Yeah, it's a real eye-opener coming into this championship. There's a lot of good drivers and teams, so it'll take a little bit of learning. I think the first 2 races, 2 race weekends, but you know, I've got a good teammate in Jan Seyfarth, and the team are working really hard. So you know, I've come here with no testing, so real baptism of fire. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see where we end up.
It'll be a steep learning curve for Seyfarth and Chandok this season as they enter the Pro Cup. BMW Sports Trophy Team India field a BMW Z4 in the Pro-Am Cup this year. Frenchman Julien Juste will be joined by Indian driver Aman Ibrahim.
We haven't done much running because of the weather has been crazy. I've only managed to get some laps in the wet, and unfortunately every time I've gotten it's been wet and not dry, so I've missed out on the dry. So yeah, if it stays dry, I'm going straight to qualifying without doing a single lap on the track, around the track in the dry, but it should be fun. In the end, to do the best we can, get the best out of both Julien and myself, and to get the best out of the car, and get in a good position for the race tomorrow, you know, and see what comes out of that.
Portuguese squad Nova driver will enter an Audi R8 this year as they make the step up to the FIA GT series. Team boss Cesar Campanico will race alongside compatriot Carlos Vieira.
Our team is 100% Portuguese. Cesar has the experience from the last year, and I think he will be a big help for me to know the circuits. And well, hopefully we will do it good for the Pro-Am class.
Expect Nova driver to be towards the front. Last year's GT3 champion Dominic Baumann makes the step up to FIA GT series this season with Grasser Lamborghini.
Our expectations are not really high. It was really short planned 1 week ago. So for the team and for the drivers, it's everything quite new. The car is really great to drive. Today or this weekend, I don't know if we can score some points. We are really happy.
Soft-rev Ferrari will field 2 458s this weekend. Gerard Tonelli will share with ex-French international goalkeeper Fabien Barthez.
But I'm here for enjoy really, and it's my second house here. You know, the Nogaro. I start to listen to the driver here, and I'm here for enjoy.
In the sister car, Jean-Luc Bubulik will share with GT expert Sohail Ayari. And finally, RJ and Nissan will field 2 cars this season, one for Mark Szosicki and Wolfgang Reip. The pair are very recent graduates from Nissan's GT Academy program, and Reip knows it'll be a tough year.
We are still learning, of course, so between the 10th and the 15th position, it's the target for this first race.
In the sister car, experienced racer Alex Buncombe will join Lucas Ordonez. So that's the lineup for this year. All that's left now is the racing. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to France for the first round of the 2013 FIA GT Series. It's the qualifying race that we've got coming up for you today from the Paul Armagnac circuit down in the southwest of France. My name is Jack Nichols. I'm here in the commentary box, and alongside me is John Watson. There's the big story of the championship. Alvaro Parent in the car. He is sharing that McLaren with Sebastien Loeb, the 9 times World Rally champion. It's fantastic to have him on board.
Well, I mean, you look at the biggest names in the history of motorsport, Sebastien Loeb is right amongst them, and he's still an active rally driver in a sense, but he's not going to have a co-driver here today in the car with him. He's all on his own with a field of 22 other cars, and that's, while he has done Le Mans, a 24-hour race, this is a sprint race on a very much different style of circuit to Le Mans. So it's a big challenge for Sebastien Loeb to address. He said in the preview there that he wants to learn to be a racing driver. It's a vertical curve for him, and the eyes of France in particular, but the world in general, are on that man right now.
So here you can see the cars making their way around on the formation lap. The grid is thus. On pole position is the number 12 Belgian Audi Club team WRT R8 of René Rast, and alongside him on the front row, as we've already seen, Alvaro Parent. Row 2, we've got another Audi. It's Edward Sandstrom and Laurence Vanthor. In fact, it's 2 WRT Audis on the second row of the grid. Then we get the first of our Nissans, which is very good to see. BMW Z4, started by Alain Cordair, is going to be very entertaining as well. Top drivers from Brazil have come to the FIA GT Series this year. And there's the other car, Sergio Jimenez driving that one. Alan Day starting in 9th place. Then we've got the Lamborghini in the field, started by Harry Projik. We've got Jay Seyfarth and Karun Chandok out there, the ex-Formula 1 driver in a Mercedes as well. Towards the back we've got Szosicki and Reip, who are going to be in the other Nissan. Cesar Campanico is 33 today, and unfortunately for him, and a bit of an early birthday present yesterday, was a 10-place grid penalty, so he's going to be starting down in 15th place, where he qualified in 5th. And bringing up the rear of the field, we've got Jan Stovacek starting that HTP Gravity Charouz machine. So a 1-hour race to start the qualifying race of the 2013 FIA GT Series is go when the lights go out. We wait for it. On pole position is René Rast as they head off towards the first corner then. It's not a great start from Alvaro Parent. It looks like Sandstrom has made his way up into second place. Parent's going to try and hold it all the way around the outside and does so. Running wide towards the back is one of the HTB Gravity Charouz cars. He comes back on board just in front. That's Andres Simonsen at the wheel. And who is that off? Oh, that's a shame. Stefan Otelli, the local driver, the Frenchman, out of the race by the looks of it at the first corner.
Well, he just got squeezed. Too much traffic going into turn 2. Contact with Audi in the gravel trap, and that car is out.
It looks like it. So, battles throughout the field at the moment, but it looks as though René Rast has managed to hold the lead as they head down towards turn 9. There's the Dawn Motorsport. McLaren getting pushed onto the grass.
Bodywork flying as the cars came through turn 6 onto the straight. Don't know whose bodywork it is, but we'll get a glimpse in a second.
So, down into the turn 7 hairpin for the first time they come. Here's a little look up the inside from the door. That's going to be contact in there, isn't there? Yes, it's a spin. And once again, it's Andres Simonsen who's involved. And a real shame there because that looks like it could be permanent damage for the 30 car of Sohail Ayari.
And that car's got radiator damage, waters flowing from the right-hand side of the car. It must have been the Ferrari who we saw the bodywork coming up through turn 6.
But as they come across to complete lap 1, it's very close to the lead of the race. They're weaving, trying to get some heat into the tyres. The safety car, though, has been deployed. So let's see if we can spot exactly what happens. There you can see Alan Coder right on the inside. Van Thor's all the way out there on the outside going into turn 2. A bit of dust kicked up on the outside. Now, we want to keep an eye on the 11 Audi, which is the third Audi just there. Oh yeah, Coder gets into the side of him and sends him spinning around. You can see that quite clearly actually whilst we were watching Andreas Simonsen going wide at the back. That was where the contact occurred. So this was the Ferrari coming down. The McLaren had a little look up the inside here, whereas the Ferrari's hidden in behind the McLaren and just clouts the back of the Andreas Simonsen Gravity Charouz machine, and you can see the
it's just like an eruption.
So we're on board with Alvaro Parent as the safety car comes in and the race gets back underway here in Nogaro. Parent hasn't got a great restart. René Rast has dealt with that very nicely and has a healthy gap as they come across the line. Half a second. There is Mike Parisi now battling with Jay Seyfarth coming into the first corner. René Rast beginning to pull away. 0.3 of a second quicker than Alvaro Parent in that first sector alone. So the gap is up to 0.8 of a second as they come down towards the hairpin. There's battles going on towards the back here.
And Alex Buncombe and the Nissan right over the back of the BMW had a thought about looking down the inside, chose to go back to the left-hand side to give him space to get the Nissan slowed down, but strong performance from this Nissan GT Academy car.
As we go back on board with second place man Alvaro Parent towards the final 2 corners at 13 and 14. Parent's an expert McLaren driver, isn't he? He was part of the development process of the whole car and very highly regarded in Woking.
Absolutely, he is an outstanding driver in my opinion, and he's probably the driver who's had the most mileage of any in an McLaren MP4 12C to give it its full title.
Very, very close between the two of them as they come into this back section where the circuit winds in on itself before they accelerate down towards the start-finish line. There's third place man Edward Sandstrom. He's an experienced Audi driver as well. And here's another attack from Alvaro Parent. Sparks flying from the front of René Rast's car, and he very cleverly holds on and turns into the corner at the very last minute to block off any chance of a cutback from Alvaro Parent. But I think Alvaro is going to have his work cut out to get past René Rast here because René is used to very close racing. He's won the Porsche Super Cup the last 3 years in a row. There's his teammate, Meir Melnov, looking a little nervous. But across the line they come. Half a second still separating Rast and Parent. It's been like that pretty much non-stop. And here is, look how hard Mike Parisi is having to defend now. And, well, they've both got past Alex Buncombe at some point. Here comes Jay Seyfarth around the outside of Mike Parisi. Seyfarth up into 5th place. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Alex Buncombe, though, because he was up there, wasn't he, in 5th position?
He was in 6th place. Now he's dropped back down to 7th. So there is the Nissan, we're seeing it behind Mike Parisi, getting held up, in fact, by Mike Parisi. It's actually maybe Mike Parisi is the driver, and he's run very, very wide, and there's contact, but something is wrong with Parisi's car. He's dropped back now behind Buncombe. Buncombe's back up to 6th place, Parisi's down to 7th, and that little bit of contact, there may have been something that's maybe as simple as a tyre problem, but there, now Buncombe coming under pressure.
Front right puncture for Mike Parisi, that's the problem. Alex Buncombe now is having to go defensive because Harry Procek is trying to get past him. Harry Procek running in the Grasser Lamborghini, the team run and set up very late, really, by Gottfried Grasser. They weren't planning on entering this series until about a week ago. But that's a real shame for Mike Parisi, because that's going to put him back on the grid for the main race, because he'll have to pit to change that front right puncture. Luckily, these guys are very well trained with their pit stop, but he will have to still come back in to do his mandatory pit stop. That's the real disappointment for Parisi as he fires the car up and heads away again. Here's the battle for the lead again, and Rene Rast knows if he just holds that inside line, he'll be all right. Parent unable to find a way past just yet. Well, here's Fabian Barthez getting past Felipe Toto. A little bit of rubbing on the doors there, but finally Barthez is through and up into the lead of the Gentleman's Trophy class.
Alvaro Parent needs, now I think he's quite well placed this time. He's closer than he was on other occasions. Can he get alongside before the brakes and maybe do something? This is his best shot to date.
But Rene Rast surely will just hold the inside line and force Parent to go around the outside. Parent gets the cutback, but that'll give him the... Oh, he has to dab on the brakes there, going into the kink at 8. Very, very close racing between the two of them. And there's Alex Buncombe then. He's in 6th position. Jay Seyfarth up ahead is in 5th position. The pit stop window is open then, so from now on, drivers can come in to change all 4 tyres and swap the drivers as well. So seeing who will come in first will be interesting. Well,
the first 2 cars coming in already.
Yeah, Enzo Eid, that is coming into the pits, I believe, as he pulls in. As Stefano Telli heads back out onto the race circuit. Quite close to picking up the number 1 Mercedes there. We've got a problem here, haven't we, for Frank Stimpler. They're taking it very easy in the pit lane. So I think, unfortunately, our 3rd place car is in a little bit of trouble now. Sebastian Loeb
getting ready.
Getting ready then to take over.
Look, Parent right on the back of the Audi coming down. He's going to try and pull up alongside. He's going to have to go the very long way around. Rene Rast is mega on the brakes. And again, I mean, literally on the outside of the Audi. Again, hasn't got the space to make it stick.
He's going to have a little nose towards the inside line. Look how close these two are running. Fantastic onboard pictures there. It shows you just how tough it is to race one of these GT cars around Nogaro, under the Dunlop Bridge now. Down a few gears on the paddle shift gearbox.
Well, there's a problem. Oh, now that was certainly got a penalty for driving. Not only does he drive across it on the entry, he goes back over the white line to swing into the pits. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, how basic is that?
Julien Jousse might be in a little bit of trouble there, because cutting the pit lane entry is definitely not allowed. In the pits comes Rene Rast then, to hand over to Niki Melnhof. WRT, very strong, but Parent has clear air.
Yeah, Parent's got clear air, but he hasn't got a lot of time to spare. By the time he completes this lap, he's going to be just about 10 seconds or 15 seconds within the pit stop window closing.
Well, here's the pit stop going on. Just one more wheel to go.
Yeah, there he goes. Watch the white line. Oh, he just about gets it in. Hard on the brakes, really nails the brakes, turning into the left, right to get onto the pit lane.
So this is the big moment in the race so far. Into the pits comes Alvaro Parent. Can they get the McLaren in and out before the Audi comes past? That's going to be the big task. In comes Loeb.
Remember,
look at this, great view.
In his earlier life, Sebastien Loeb was a gymnast. And he is mega fit and supple. And you could just see him getting into the car. I mean, it was just poetry in motion, the way he just got in. They've no doubt practiced this many times before they come to Navarro. Tightens down the belts. He's happy. That front's going to go on. There is the Audi.
I think Melnhof has done this, you know. He's coming down the start-finish straight now. Loeb heads out, but it's comfortable for Niki Melnhof, the Sebastien Loeb racing team. Very, very good, very professional outfit, but they don't have the tyre-changing experience of the WRT squad. And Sebastien Loeb then comes out in 2nd place. Melnhof leads, and I think it'll be Karun Chandhok in 3rd place.
It'll be interesting to see how Karun Chandhok gets on, because first weekend in his racing career internationally he's ever raced with a roof on.
Left foot braking here, John. So what's that all about? A lot of the single-seater drivers will be right foot.
Yes, no, a lot of single-seater drivers today are left foot as well, but in the case of a GT car, the majority of drivers are right foot brakers. Sebastien Loeb is a rally driver by profession, and all the braking done by a rally driver is left foot, except when you use your hand to pull the handbrake on and your left foot to do this. So, I mean, it's a second nature to him. He just drives with 2 feet. He doesn't even have to think about it. Watch his feet. On the throttle now, full throttle. Off it again to balance the steering and the throttle. On the brakes. I mean, it's just completely natural for Sebastien Loeb to do what we're just watching from the cockpit camera shot.
But there's Alvaro Perrin, little wave.
The battle that we have enjoyed up until the round of pit stops now, it's effectively part two, but with two different drivers.
Down towards the first corner they come then. The gap is down to just 0.6 of a second, and now we're going to see Sebastien Loeb. He wanted to come here to learn to be a racing driver, and there's no more crucial skill than overtaking for the lead of the race when you're a racing driver. On board we go with the 9 times World Rally champion. The rear right axle there for Stefan Ortelli, or sorry, the rear right bodywork.
That's been hit pretty severely,
yeah,
so that's bodywork rubbing as we go back to the lead, to the battle for the lead.
And Loeb, look at that on the brakes, almost getting alongside. Yes, he's trying to go around the outside of the hairpin. Mehrmanov holds it in there. He runs him right towards the outside of the circuit, and Mehrmanov holds on for the moment. That was close.
I think for a fraction of a second, I think Sebastien Loeb may well have had the nose of the McLaren ahead of the nose of the Audi, but he was on the outside, and again, running close. I don't think they had any contact, but you couldn't have had much space between these two cars.
And this is Andreas Zuber getting all wiggly as he tries to go past Wolfgang Reip.
What are they doing way down in 15th? Obviously, I know the puncture for Mike Parisi, but I thought they might have been able to do a little bit more than that. Anyway, Andreas Zuber down at 15th. Team Boss, second.
Yep. Down towards the hairpin they come, and Mehrmanov needs to cover the inside line because Loeb's going to put it there, and I'm afraid that's going to be the lead of the race for Sebastien Loeb. Is it? No. Well, Mehrmanov well and truly squeezed.
I'm going down to Park Fermé to do the interviews with the drivers, lead first 3 places, and I will love to see the body action between the 2 Audi and the 2 McLaren drivers, because they'll have tales to tell.
Absolutely.
There'll be a lot of if, ands or buts in their summaries of their races.
Mehrmanov needed to hold the inside line earlier, didn't he? We could see it coming, and we've seen on the last lap how good Loeb was on the brakes. There is Ortelli. Sounds like we're getting some tyres changed on that car, and then he may well head back out, because get to the end of the race and it'll give you grid position for tomorrow, which if you start 16th or 20th, it could make a difference. And we're going to see a replay. Well, this is just the rear right. Yeah.
I mean, that was a big smack in the right rear of the car. Then he runs very wide, going through turn
there he goes.
9, and he just pivots around, and the car spins through 360 degrees.
Here comes Sebastien Loeb now, again to the outside he looks. But he's not going to, well, he's going to try and go around the outside again. We know what Mehrmanov's going to do here. He's going to squeeze him onto the grass, which if anything, putting Loeb onto the grass might give him an advantage as they come into the double left-hander.
And of course what Mehrmanov does, he just puts the car down the inside, precludes Sebastien Loeb from trying to come back at him. Then this short run out of turn 10 down into 11 and 12, nowhere really to pass unless you are absolutely alongside.
Here we go again.
Down the inside.
Here's the dummy from Loeb, but Mehrmanov sees it coming. Is that more than 2 moves?
He's got it this time.
Sebastien Loeb takes the lead of the first round of the FIA GT series. Mehrmanov was too busy looking in his mirrors, too busy changing his line. He locked up, ran wide, and Sebastien Loeb is into the lead. About time too, I think, from the McLaren's perspective. Let's look at the replay. So Mehrmanov was on the outside. He moved back to the outside, almost got caught out by the dump. Well, did get caught out. Couldn't get it stopped, could he?
Well, it was sort of a double dummy, but it meant that the Audi slightly overran the corner. He didn't get the apex, and that allowed Loeb the opportunity to cut back under.
Oh, that's Aman Ibrahim and Lucas Ordonez. So those two have, I presume, come together at turn 7. I mean, that pretty much will be. I don't think it needs to be Jessica Fletcher to figure that out. And probably a puncture there as well. Here we go. Ordonez.
Yeah, down the inside.
Really close enough, is he?
And is the Audi going to? The Audi just drives down. And well, when you're so far wide and you cut across. I don't know what the regulation is in GT racing regarding how far up or how far back a car is going to be to have to concede the corner, but certainly in Formula 1 terms, the Nissan had the corner in that case.
Here's the second place battle then, and really it's one chance. It's now or never, I'd say, for Maximilian Buch.
Maybe going to try and force an error from the Audi driver, as we saw Sebastien Loeb do some minutes ago, but no, he's not able to do it. But he is. Ooh, we just got the nose almost to the tail of the Audi as they swept into turn 8.
but these two aren't going to grab the headlines. The man who is going to grab the headlines is going to be Sebastien Loeb, the 9 times World Rally champion, sees the checker flag and wins the qualifying race here at Nogaro. Second place just for Nicky Meyer-Melnoff. Only a tenth of a second between them as they cross the line. Third place, Maximilian Buch in the HTP Gravity Charouz Mercedes. Fourth position is going to be Anthony Kumpen, and he's got a bit of traffic in front of him, but that's not going to cause him too much problems. Fourth place for Kumpen in the Audi. Fifth place for Carlos Vieira in the Audi. Strong performance from Nova driver. Very, very good to see the Portuguese squad doing so well. Karun Chandok will come home in 6th place, but Sebastien Loeb takes the win. The applause from all around the circuit. And we can now hear from Sebastien Loeb. He's down in Parc Fermé. John Watson's got him.
Sebastien, fantastic overtake. Great race. 35 laps to get it done, but you did it.
Yeah, it was complicated to overtake this Audi because they were really good job. Good fight. They were really quick in the slow parts, and in the straight we could have some opportunity, but they were closing the door every time, so we had to fight hard, and finally it's a nice win for the first race with Alvaro, which is just here. So
a great job, congratulations. But you know, you've dominated World Rally for 9 years, you're now going to dominate this as well.
It's only the first race, so we have to continue to work, and it will not be like this every time for sure. We have to work and fight, but Alvaro has done a great job. He was at the contact all the first part of the race, and he gave me the car in the second place we could overtake, so it was a great job.
Fantastic, well done, congratulations.
And we can hear now from Alvaro. He's with John.
Alvaro, you had to work so hard to try and get past René Rast, but your teammate, he's a bit of a novice, he did a superb pass into the straight.
Yes, he did. You know, well, it was the whole stint for me behind René. He was very intelligent. I tried to pass him in various places. It was not possible, but you know, a good race. And then Seb, what a fantastic pass, you know, into the hairpin. And really, really proud. And all the work we've been doing is paid off today. Well, more important tomorrow, but yeah, it's great.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you, Alvaro.
So we can now hear from Maximilian Buch. Now he's with Watty.
Maximilian, you were closing on 2nd place. We thought you were going to get it in the last lap.
I thought it too, but I didn't want to push too much because I was on P3. I want to keep the position for the race tomorrow. I mean, it's only the qualifying race, but still a good result for us. And I think P3 is not too bad.
I think P3 is pretty good. Alan, how did you enjoy it?
Well, first race in GTA in my life. The start actually was pretty tough for me because first time I didn't expect so much pushing and so much aggression on the start. But after that was okay. The team did a really good job on pit stop. Maxi did a really good stint on his half of the race, and I'm pretty happy.
Congratulations, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
So here's a look at the results. Sebastien Loeb Racing taking the win with Sebastien Loeb and Alvaro Parent at the wheel. 3 Audis in the top 5. It's a circuit that really suits them. Nicky Meyer-Melnoff and René Rast in 2nd place. Maximilian Buch and Alan Day in 3rd position. Anthony Kumpen and Enzo Weed, very, very strong performance from them. Kumpen will be starting that car tomorrow, so expect that to perhaps climb forward. That 25-second gap you can see from 3rd to 4th, not really representative, I don't think, of the pace. Caca Bueno and Ricardo Zonta, very excited to see them starting a little bit higher up in the field tomorrow. And unfortunately, we had a few troubles out there for some of the Audis and some of the Ferraris retiring as well. Gerard Tonelli winning, him and Fabian Barthez winning the Gentleman's Trophy class after Loeb won the Pro class and Meyer-Melnoff and Rast won the Pro-Am class. So they're onto the podium to wave to the crowd are Alvaro Parent and Sebastien Loeb. No doubt the fans will be flooding to Nogaro to try and see their man Sebastien Loeb take victory tomorrow as well. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the first main race of the 2013 FIA GT Series. We're here in France at the Circuit de Paul Armagnac in Nogaro for the opening round of this 6-round season. The weather, as you can see, is a little bit wet. The rain has now started again by the looks of things. It's been on and off all day, mainly on, it has to be said, but there's plenty of hardy fans who have come out for this traditional Coup de Pâques weekend, the Easter trophy here in the southwest of France. 11 degrees, the air temperature, you can see it's pretty chilly. My name is Jack Nichols, I'm going to be your commentator for the season. John Watson will be alongside me in the commentary box. He's down on the grid at the moment, and he'll be bringing you some of the latest news as and when we get it. A very famous circuit in France, this Nogaro circuit. It was renovated a couple of years ago, which now means that international series, like the FIA GT series, can come to it. It's got 14 corners, 3.6 kilometers long. That long back straight that you just see there, going down towards the turn 7 hairpin, that's where we expect to see the majority of the overtaking. Very flat circuit, no undulation at all, really, around here. So it's going to be a very, very interesting race. As we saw in yesterday's qualifying race, it was possible to overtake, but it's very, very difficult, so we'll have to see how that turns out. There you can see Stéphane Otelli. He is going to be starting the number 11 car. He and Laurens Vanthoor had a very difficult day yesterday. Vanthoor was punted into a spin at the first corner, and then Otelli got hit as well from behind, having to pit to fix a right rear puncture, and they ended up finishing way down the grid, and as a result they're going to be starting in 16th on the grid. And we can now hear from Alain Coder, one of the drivers in the number 0 BMW Team Brazil car. He's with John.
The BMW boys from Brazil may prepare the sun of Brazil, but Alain Coder and Caca Bueno, what can you do in the wet here in Nogaro?
Let's try. Everything is new for me. I know the car first time here in Nogaro, but I did some laps. I think the car in wet is not so bad. It's a good car. Let's try to read the podium.
Any words for Caca before the start?
No. Only to throttle, full throttle all the time, and give him the car, please, in the front.
Enjoy wet weather conditions.
Thank you.
Fantastic to see Alain Coder and Caca Bueno and the whole of the BMW Team Brazil in the FIA GT series this season. Caca Bueno, who's going to be starting that car, is a 5-time Brazilian stock car champion. Alain Coder himself races in the Brazilian Stock Car Championship, was 3rd in that championship back in 2010. He's also raced in A1GP, Formula Renault Brazil champion, and there you can see the two of them having a little discussion. And as well as those two Brazilian superstars, we've also got these two Brazilian superstars at the wheel of this car. Starting the number 21 machine will be Ricardo Zonta, the ex-Formula 1 driver, and he's partnered by Sergio Jimenez, who is a very experienced GT racer as well. So it really is an all-star lineup in these BMW Z4s. They do have some experience running these cars. Caca Bueno last year raced in the GT3 Brazil Championship with this very team and ended up 2nd place in the championship. So those two cars will start on row 4. Up at the front of the grid, though, we have the Belgian Audi Club WRT. Nicky Meyer-Melnoff will be starting the car. René Rast will be taking over, and we can hear from René now.
René, you led this race in the dry yesterday. It's now wet. Can Audi do it again?
I hope so. I mean, in free practice we saw already that the Audi was also strong in wet conditions, and I think we have a good chance to be in front again. Hopefully Nicky is doing a good stint now and gives the car to me in the lead, and then we'll see what happens.
Have you told him how to get past Sebastien Loeb?
No, I didn't try it, at least. I mean, he did a good race yesterday and he defended quite well. Let's see how it works today. I mean, he's a good starter. We saw the last races, and yeah, let's see how it works.
Stay warm.
Good to hear from René Rast there down on the grid. He will be, well, his teammate Nicky Meyer-Melnoff will be starting 2nd on the grid, and we have just had an update that the main race will start behind the safety car, so it will be a safety car start, which is always a bit of a shame, a bit of an anti-climax. There you can see 6th place on the grid. Karun Chandok at the wheel, the ex-Formula 1 driver, will be starting this car. A little away from Karun, he's racing with the SMS Seyfarth Motorsport squad in their Mercedes SLS, and it's Jan Seyfarth who will be alongside him, taking over at the half-race distance, because it's a 1-hour race with a 10-minute pit stop window right in the middle of it, where you have to come in, change all 4 tyres, change your driver, and then head back out onto the circuit. So the leading car pulls away. And, well, big respect to the French fans who have come out this weekend to watch on. The Portuguese Nova driver car there lines up 5th place on the grid. They had a very strong race yesterday and
Carlos Vieira will start that car before handing over to Cesar Campanico. They looked strong all weekend, but had a penalty in qualifying, which put them a long way down the grid. We can now hear from Alvaro Parent, whose car starts on pole.
Alvaro, Sebastian's on pole position, but we just heard it's going to be a single car, safety car start to the race.
Well, yeah, that's even better. So no, I think the conditions are tricky. So it's a lot different from yesterday. It's crazy. Yesterday very sunny, today raining, and much colder, obviously. But safety car start for us. See the track now behind the safety car. I think for at least a lap or two, and then see what we can do from there.
I'm sure you'll keep it on the track. Many thanks.
Thank you.
So Alvaro Parent will be taking over that car there. In 4th place on the grid, we have Anthony Kumpen at the wheel. And he and Enzo Eade share that number 5 Phoenix Racing Audi. And it's very good to see Phoenix Racing in the FIA GT Series. A very, very successful outfit. Have won the Spa 24 Hours, they've won the Nürburgring 24 Hours, and now they're here to challenge in the FIA GT Series. So they're starting 4th on the grid. The car to watch for me personally, though, is the car that's starting in 3rd place, number 1. Maximilian Buch at the wheel. He was phenomenal yesterday, set the 3rd quickest lap time. Only Alvaro Parent and Rene Rast set a quicker lap time than Maximilian Buch yesterday. And Buch, who's only a young man and relatively inexperienced, he's 20 years old, he's only got 3 years of racing under his belt, but he really seems to have some natural pace. And Alan Day, who will be alongside him, is a very quick competitor as well, the only Israeli in the field, and yesterday became, well, the only Israeli to, he didn't stand on the podium because it wasn't a podium after the qualifying race, but the first Israeli to be in the top 3 in a major international race was Alan Day. He did the first half of the Indy Lights season last year and ended up finishing 6th at Barber Motorsports Park, so in such a competitive category like that, that's a very good performance from Alan Day. Yesterday was his first ever GT race, so it's going to be tricky for him if he wants to get to grips with these cars quickly. And there you saw the 12 car just as we cut away. Nicky Manmanoff starting 2nd on the grid, and of course, because it will be a single file safety car start, the grid and rows and inside lines for the first corner become rather irrelevant. So all of a sudden, these two, Sebastien Loeb getting past Nicky Manmanoff, seems like it was worthwhile, because yes, they won the race yesterday, but as you can see from the door numbers here, it's a white door number for Sebastien Loeb and Alvaro Parent because they're in the Pro Cup. It's a black door number for Nicky Manmanoff and Rene Rast because they're in the Pro-Am Cup. So points-wise, getting past yesterday made no difference to Sebastien Loeb, but it got him pole position for this race, which now seems like a very good plan indeed. You can see the rain isn't coming down too heavily here in Nogaro. The circuit is definitely wet. It will definitely be starting on the wet tyres. There you can see the temperature, but the rain itself is not coming down too hard, which is very good to see. But no doubt it will come down harder during the race because these clouds are ready to erupt at any point. There is car number 7, Matthias Stumpf will be starting that car, the second of the Brazilian teams that have come here to drive in the FIA GT Series. He will then be handing over to Claudio Ricci. And they are starting down on the 5th row of the grid alongside Andreas Zuber and Mike Parisi, actually, who in the Sebastien Loeb racing car had a difficult day yesterday with a few incidents here and there after the qualifying. In the qualifying session, they've been pushed down the grid a little. Now you can see the 2-minute board going up, and it won't be long before these cars head off on the, well, whether we'll get a formation lap or not, or whether the race will just begin behind the safety car, which I presume actually is more likely. When the safety car pulls away, the clock will start ticking, I presume, but we will wait and see exactly how things transpire. But once the race does get underway, there's no doubt it's going to be very entertaining because we've got some quick drivers out there. You can see the wipers heading off on the cars, and the fans in the grandstands holding their umbrellas. And, well, John, you were just down there. It doesn't look like it's raining too hard, but it's still obviously going to be all wet tyres for these guys.
Freezing down the grid. It is appalling. A bit of wind blowing, the rain comes in and goes, so you're standing 1 minute and you think it's over, then it blows through again. So track conditions are both very cold and clearly very wet. We know that some people this morning had a problem with, suddenly they lost grip front and rear. So the buzzword in the pit lane days is getting your tyre pressures precise, not sort of trying to be clever and gain an advantage by either going up or going down. And lots of teams have found out that they've got to keep the precise pressure. The grip then is there, but visibility is going to be an issue. We will have a rolling start, which will simplify the start process probably more than the normal situation that we would see or we saw yesterday. So difficult conditions, and of course Sebastien Loeb, pole position, going to be in the pound seat, as they say. But remember last year, those Audis in these conditions, they were the dominant manufacturer.
Absolutely, so it's Loeb and Niki Mountanoff on the front row of the grid. We've gone through the top 3 rows already, then Zonta and Bueno in the Team Brazil BMWs on the 4th row of the grid. They'll be battling hard. Watch for Andres Zuber climbing through the field. There's going to be quite a few climbers, actually. I think Sergei Afanasiev, very quick in that Mercedes, starting in 12th place. Dominic Baumann as well, a very quick driver. Wolfgang Wright is the first of our Nissans in the part of the GT Academy program. Mortelli, watch for him coming through, as well as Mascarello perhaps towards the back of the field, and also Frank Stippler will be starting right down the back in 21st place, so watch out for him and Edward Sandstrom. They had difficulties, well, electrical problems yesterday. The car short-circuited effectively, blew the fuse. They've replaced the fuse, the car is running, but they are still not 100% sure. The fuse could blow at any time, basically. So they're going to be hoping that it doesn't.
Well, you have to find the reason why the fuse blew in the first place. And sticking a new fuse in will rectify the problem, but it doesn't actually get to the core of the problem. So it's a bit of a stick a tail on a donkey, or stick a tail on a fuse, I suppose, and see what happens.
And there is the number 16 Door Motorsport car, started by Daniel Kilvitz. So the clock has started now. So the main race of this season has begun, obviously under underwhelming circumstances. There's going to be another lap behind the safety car, at least. So it gives us time to get to know the grid a little bit before they head off.
One of the things I noticed this morning during the warm-up is that Nogaro's got a variety. It's got like a surface of many colours, literally. Around the racetrack, you'll see a lot of parts of the racetrack, different coloured tarmac, which indicates how they're old or new tarmac. One of them, principally, is at the end of the straight into turn 7, and there's a minor little step where the surface change occurs, so keep an eye on that, because I think that's going to be an area where people could easily get caught out under brakes.
We saw the WRT Audi squad not very happy for some reason. I presume all their cars have lined up in the correct places. Well, we saw Stefan Ortelli on the grid, so I didn't spot him having trouble getting away, but there's our pole car, Sebastien Loeb, trying to get some heat into those tyres. Then we've got the Nova Drive machines. There are the 2 BMW Team Brazil cars, then the second Sebastien Loeb racing car. As they head out towards this long back straight once more. One more lap behind the safety car. I don't know, not sure when that came up on the screen, but we'll have to wait and see.
That had the problem, yes, Edward Sundstrom. They only got 3 laps in this morning, having rectified the problem, and maybe that's where we are.
So there is Kaká Bueno, 5 times Brazilian stock car champion, and stock cars in Brazil are not the same as stock cars in the United Kingdom. We're not talking about the ones that fly around at Birmingham Wheels or Skegness. These are proper...
Skeggy?
Yeah, the memories, eh? These are proper V8 GT cars, effectively, that race all around Curitiba, Interlagos, and it's a massive, massive championship in Brazil. I mean, well, Rubens went there, didn't he, and struggled a little bit.
Yeah, and he struggled since he left Formula 1, to be truthful. But anyway, Kaká Bueno and Alain Kadir are 2 top drivers in that championship, and they think their car, their BMW Z4, is going to be sweet as a nut, a Brazil nut.
So the lights are out on the safety car. This race is about to get underway for proper, possibly Sebastien Loeb's first ever safety car start. I would have thought. He certainly had some races in French GT last year. Whether he actually led a safety car restart, we'll have to wait and see.
But he would have certainly at Le Mans been in the safety car contest.
Yeah, as part of it, but not
part
actually
of
run
it,
it.
not necessarily leading it. Of course, at Le Mans they've got 2 or 3 safety cars which are all put out at one time, and all it does is add to the confusion of that particular event. But the cars now in line for the start.
So the lights are off on the safety car with 55 minutes to go. The race starting in the rain behind the safety car, but now we've got racing proper. Sebastien Loeb leads the main race here at Nogaro across the line. Niki Mountanoff is coming with him. The BMWs are already fanning out, and in fact that's an attack on Karun Chandok going into the first corner, and it looks like already Kaka Bueno has made it past Karun Chandok. As they come through, yes, Bueno ahead of Chandok, who's now coming under pressure from Zonta, and Andreas Zuber is right with him, but Sebastien Loeb it is, who's in the lead of the race, and is starting to just pull away a little bit. Look at the conditions down there at turn 4. Chandok really struggling to find the grip.
Yeah, I mean, just in turn 4, it tightens up at the exit of the corner. Again, trying to go around on the outside, the BMW, the Mercedes on the inside, getting traction off turn 5, always going to be a problem, more so in these conditions. But Sebastien Loeb has got the clear bit of racetrack. He's decided he likes the bit of racetrack that's the centre, then moves back again. Needs to be careful not to be seen to be moving around. You're allowed to make one move from left to right and right to left, but beyond that, then you've got to hold station.
Good battling here between Andreas Zuber and Matej Stump. Stump actually got past going into turn 5, but Zuber's managed to get the advantage back again, all in the squabble lower down the field. As they come through the left-hander now and out towards the old pit lane here, there is Andreas Zuber in the number 10, Sebastien Loeb Racing McLaren, and you can see the wall of spray that everyone's driving into as they now try and pass Karun Chandok, who's really struggling for grip in these early stages. On board we go with Kaka Bueno, down towards 13 and 14. Bueno then is in 6th position. That's Carlos Vieira up in front of him in the Nova Driver Audi.
Well, I think the BMW, talking to Kadir on the grid, Adam Kadir, he said we've got a good car in these conditions, and we're looking at Kaka Bueno to try and make that move stick as he comes through turn 1. And again, look, the driver's just almost a whiteout as they go into turn 2.
So Nicky Mailmanov has only a 0.6 of a second deficit to Sebastien Loeb up at the front. It's pretty close between the two of them. Those two have disappeared from Maximilian Buch, who was my, perhaps, shout for this race. But obviously the Mercedes in the hands of both Buch and Karun Chandok is struggling a little bit to get the pace. As we go on board with Bueno then, trying to find a way past the Nova Driver car. The BMW looking strong, as you say.
Yeah, looking to go around the outside of the corner, something that drivers will do on these circuits with these conditions, but he couldn't make it stick, so he's dropped back a little bit as we make the run down out of 6 into turn 7. Hopes to have a look down the inside, but too far back. Got the sister car behind him, Ricardo Zonta, and then we see Andreas Zuber in the second of the Sebastien Loeb Racing McLarens.
And he has got past Karun Chandok. There is number 11, Stefano Telli, slicing his way past the 32 machine started by Wolfgang Reip. And we go on board now with Ortelli. In front of him is the Grasser Racing Lamborghini started by Dominic Baumann. As he comes through the left-hander, pretty very smooth on the throttle from Ortelli. Changing a few little dials down there, and a bit of a slide coming out for Anthony Kumpen and also for the Audi behind the Nova Driver Audi. So this is going to be an interesting race, this one, I think, but the two leaders have scampered off down the road. Here they are, Sebastien Loeb and Nicky Mailmanov have pulled clear of the 3rd place car of Maximilian Buch, and then the battles behind are a little bit closer. Here comes Karun Chandok under pressure now from Matej Stump coming into turn 1. That's the battle over 9th position. No way through.
Keep an eye on Kaka Bueno, because he was trying to get past the Audi just ahead, and that was into turn 1 and 2 as we go back to the lead through turn 5. And Nicky Mailmanov may have, well, it's showing 3/4 of a second. It looked slightly less than that as they go through turn 5. And Nicky Mailmanov may well try, as the BMW does get alongside the Audi in turn 5, side swipes it.
Oh, that was so close. I don't know how Carlos Vieira held on to that one. I'm not sure if there was contact, I think.
There was very slight contact, but in these conditions it only needs that slight contact just to push the car sideways. Great job in recovering it, but more so in maintaining his position.
And also Ricardo Zonta is coming under pressure. Here comes Andreas Zuber up the inside. He's not close enough into the turn 7 hairpin. As he darts out of the spray to have a little look, but Carlos Vieira, I don't know how he managed to hold on to that in these wet and slippery conditions. And behind, Karun Chandok is still holding on to that 9th place. Sebastien Loeb has just set the fastest first sector of anyone, but Nicky Mailmanov responds with the fastest middle sector of anyone. Impressive driving this from Mailmanov, you have to say.
Yes, I think, I mean, he got a tough lesson. Does it dives, the 4 dives on the inside of Karun Chandok.
Goes through the puddle, Matej Stump on his way past. Yeah. Chandok finds more grip around the outside, a little bit of rubbing, and Stumpf is through. Chandok's going to lose out now as well to the car behind of Sergei Afanasyev, who comes through as well. So Chandok drops down to 11th place.
Yeah, he got sort of slightly pushed wide going on the edge of the turn 12. That opened up the door for the second of the Mercedes to run through. But the battle here is Checo Bueno and Carlos Vieira. Those two are the battle over for 4th or 5th place, 5th and 6th.
There's the BMW Team Brazil machine, and it looks like they're in a battle with Edward Sandstrom. Here's a look at the replay then. So it's the 14 Nova driver car.
Oh, we gave him a little gentle rub. Nothing, I mean, just nothing that would have been barely, you'd have seen it in the paintwork, but enough in these conditions just to swing the Audi's tail out almost over the curb. And Alam Kadir keeping an eye. Problem for McLaren. What's going on?
Well, that's something going on the rear left. It doesn't look like it's too major. Is it a windscreen wiper or something?
I don't know. I mean, certainly Sebastien Loeb is going way off the normal line, coming down into turn 7. He goes back again to the middle of the road. There's something I noticed flapping as Andreas Zuber gets up alongside Ricardo Zonta, but he's on the outside, can't make it stick.
No, very close between the pair of them though. Zuber almost trying to bully Ricardo Zonta out of the way, but it's not going to work on such an experienced driver, an experienced GT driver as well, Ricardo Zonta, as well as his Formula 1 escapades. He's been racing in GT cars for a long time as the fans watch on here at Nogaro. And that little moment for the Nova driver car seems to have spurred Vieira into a bit of pace, because he's started to pull away a little bit now from Kaka Bueno. This is the rear view shot which we've got on the back of Karun Chandok, I believe, coming through the long right-hander. That's Stefan Ortelli behind. Battle over 11th place still. Ortelli's got past Baumann on this lap and will soon be trying to get past Karun into the final corner, and Ortelli takes a wider line in. This should give him the opportunity coming down towards turn 1. Chandok knows it, goes defensive. Ortelli still tries to find the inside line into 1, and he should have got that job done, I think.
Yeah, I think he got it done pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Well, not pretty, he got it done. Let's leave it there. Karun comes back, puts the Mercedes nose up the inside as they go into turn 2, but Ortelli's got the ground and he's able to consolidate, but there's Nissan trouble behind for Karun Chandok.
Absolutely, so it's the 32 Nissan behind, and actually, my apologies, Ortelli hadn't got past Dominic Baumann. Baumann had got past Chandok, so Baumann is 11th, 12th is Chandok, and 13th is Stefan Ortelli, and again, Loeb was hugging the inside line.
Yeah, he's got, and the BMW, the India Team India car, off onto the grass.
That's Aman Ibrahim down at turn 4, so maybe some contact somewhere. We'll have to see if there's a replay of that one, and now he's coming under pressure. Is that from Fabian Barthez trying to get around? Gerard Tonelli.
The other guy.
Oh yeah, there's Tonelli up in front. Tonelli leading the Gentleman's Trophy class, and that is the other Ferrari, which is actually in the Pro-Am class, in the hands of Jean-Luc Bubalik at the moment. Back towards the front though, and we've got the queue forming behind Ricardo Zonta now. Zonta, Zuber, Stumpf, and then behind him Afanasyev in the Mercedes.
And Andreas Zuber is coming under pressure from Stumpf in the Ford as they come through. Again, it's all Ricardo Zonta leading this group of 6 cars, so the pace is being dictated by the BMW of Ricardo Zonta, and Andreas Zuber keen to get past, but has the power of the BMW on the straight bit of the racetrack, just holds it ahead of the turbocharged McLaren, and then the Ford V8 behind, the Mercedes V8 follows.
So we saw a little shot there of Sergio Jimenez in the garage watching on, as he's Ricardo Zonta's teammate. And these wet Pirelli tyres working very hard in these conditions. It's not too wet though. And well, the team manager of car 11, Stefan Ortelli, has been asked to go to the race director immediately, so we'll wait and see if anything comes of that, with 45 minutes to go here in the first main race of the 2013 FIA GT Series season. And Nicky Meyer-Manhoff up at the front is not letting Sebastien Loeb get away with it. Zonta has to go defensive now. This is cut back to the battle for 7th place, and Andreas Zuber's got it done on the brakes. Good move, and here comes Afanasyev to go past Stumpf behind. Stumpf gets the cutback, does he? No. So that means that Andreas Zuber in the number 10, Sebastien Loeb Racing McLaren, is up into 7th place.
Magnathieff did a good job. He watched what was going on directly, as well as slightly further down the road, and he got the benefit, found himself ahead of the Ford.
Yep, good work from the Russian. One of 2 Russians in this field, the other one being Mark Szolzicki, who's out later on in the race in the 32 Nissan. Sebastien Loeb then leading the race and obviously leading the pro class. Meyer Melnoff is in second place overall, but leading the Pro-Am class, and Gerard Tonelli is leading the Gentleman's Trophy at the moment, but there's still only a second between Loeb and Meyer Melnoff. It is increasing, but very slowly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just ebbs and flows by a tenth of a second here or there, but more importantly, in the middle sector on this last lap, the Audi of Nicky Meyer Melnoff was actually quickest car on the racetrack. And again, you can see, I mean, if you lose a tenth of a second, it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. It's really more about visibility and being able to have the use of the part of the racetrack that's helping you.
Maximilian Buch fairly lonely in third place. Then we've got fourth, fifth and sixth coming towards us now. Kumpen, Vieira and Bueno. Then seventh place now, Andreas Zuber. And here comes Afanasiev up the inside. A little bit of a contact between him and Ricardo Zonta. Zonta holds it on and then moves across on Afanasiev. That was a little bit rude perhaps from Zonta as they come out onto the back straight. And Matthias Stumpf is going to want to take both of them. Stumpf's pushed onto the grass. I don't think Afanasiev knew he was there as they head down towards turn 7. Dominic Baumann in the Lamborghini on the right-hand side will try and take advantage of that, but he's not close enough. After all that, no positions change, but that was a big moment for Afanasiev.
But it got our heart rate going, didn't it? I mean, a bit of aggressive racing from Ricardo de Zonta to defend his position, and then Michael Stumpf in the Ford GT, almost 2 wheels off the racetrack, kept the car going in the right direction, and it's all back to status quo.
Yeah, absolutely. No one even gained anything out of that. Here's a look at the replay. I don't think that the Mercedes knows the Ford's there.
No, he can't. I mean, he's looking at the BMW. The Ford opportunistically is trying to benefit from what's going on with the Mercedes and the BMW, and he himself gets himself put into well, what you might call no man's land.
Absolutely. No tarmac land, that's for sure, as they come through the final corner then. Andreas Zuber has already actually closed in quite quickly on Kaka Bueno, but here we go again. Afanasiev trying to get to the outside of Ricardo Zonta as they come into turn 1. There's more rubbing between the two of them. Afanasiev can't quite make it. Zonta holds on.
He certainly did. I mean, this is good, hard, I mean, almost, well, it's aggressive and entertaining. And once or twice, virtually in one lap, they've been side by side rubbing paint.
Afanasiev has actually received a black and white warning flag, I presume, for that manoeuvre of pushing Matthias Stumpf onto the grass. And that's a rude manoeuvre from Afanasiev. That's pretty. And there we go. Zonta gets him back. Afanasiev is off, and Sergio Jimenez watches on. Afanasiev may be able to get out of there, may not. We'll wait and see. But all this has allowed Matthias Stumpf past. Here comes Stefano Telli now to try and join the party and make up a few places in the Audi. We're on board with him. He's in the middle of a 3-car sandwich coming down into 7. And he has to settle in behind the Lamborghini, but Zonta has lost 4 positions there.
Well, I mean, Ricardo has been a Formula 1 driver. He drives stock cars in Brazil. That was pure stock cars from Wolverhampton, not from Brazil. 2 cars, 1 car out, 1 car damaged, and I've no doubt that the steward will want to speak to both drivers, and maybe a penalty for Ricardo Zonta, but the Ignatius car, well, if he gets it back on track, that'll be his penalty. But both drivers going at it without anything spared.
Car 2 has rejoined the race according to race control, so I don't think there'll be much damage to Afanasiev's car. It didn't seem to be wheel on wheel.
There is the car damage to the right rear corner. You can see some of the bodywork has been, the carbon fibre has been shredded, but no damage to the suspension of the car. The tyres appear all to be fine. Let's have a look at it again. Well,
that's a touring car move, that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like you see in this game of snooker than anything else, because Ricardo then comes back. He sort of didn't have a lot of options because Ignatius' car was coming across the front of the BMW, and Jimenez looks at it and he noses and tails the car. How he got it out of there on the grass, which is absolutely bogging wet, he should get a prize for that.
Sebastien Loeb leads with 41 minutes to go. He's got a 1.6 second advantage over Nicky Meyer Melnoff, but Meyer Melnoff has just taken 0.4 of a second out of him in the first sector alone, and the best first sector of anyone.
In fact, over the last lap, Sebastien Loeb almost had a 2-second advantage. Now Nicky Meyer Melnoff may have just backed off, going back to the action, coming down the straight. Sorry folks, this is more interesting.
It's Dominic Baumann who's now challenging Matthias Stumpf. Zonta is also under pressure. Karun Chandok is involved with the 13 car of Frank Stippler. So this is all now over 12th place. Sorry, 11th place, I should say. Zonta, then Karun Chandok, who we're on board with, and who we're now in the grass with.
He got hit, he got patted on the back. He could see his hand as Frank Stippler possibly was the car behind him as they came across the line the last lap. Clearly, Karun Chandok got an almighty whack in the rear of that SLS Mercedes. And you can see the back of that car. Now, has he got suspension damage, or is that just simply because he was off track and on the grass? Well, welcome to enclosed car racing. Ford off.
That's the number 8 Ford, though. That's the second one, which is driven by Rajan Mascarello. He's beached it in the gravel somewhere out on the circuit.
I think he wants to send a ship-to-shore message to say he's not going to get out of there without assistance.
Now Andreas Zuber is up behind Caca Bueno in the battle over 4th place. Caca Bueno in the BMW Team Brazil machine, the Z4, and then behind in the number 10 McLaren is Andreas Zuber. There's the front 2, though. The gap 1.1 seconds at the end of that last lap, and there you go. There is at turn 7 that Mascarello's gone off.
And that'll be a waved flag zone, so no overtaking on the approach or in the corner. And that's one of the major opportunities around this Nogaro 3.6-kilometre circuit. Everybody needs to be aware that they must go through that zone slower than they would have done on their previous best.
And just a clarification from yesterday, if Mascarello gets pulled out of the gravel trap here, he is then allowed to rejoin the race. Now, whereas we're used to kind of sprint racing being sprint racing, if you're out, you're out. Because it's GT sprint racing, it still adopts the kind of long-distance GT rules of if you're out and you get helped back onto the track, as long as you can start under your own power, you can go back in the race.
With the exception of qualifying.
With the exception of qualifying, yes, very true. So, now we've got that particular
gap down to less than a second, 0.8. That's where it was in the opening laps. Nicky Meyer-Manov has got that lap down, so let's have a look and see the lap times. 37.7 for Meyenhoff in the Audi, 37.8 for Loeb in the McLaren. Literally a snip and tuck.
And Mascarello has now been pulled back onto the circuit, so he can rejoin the race, but he will have obviously lost an awful lot of time as we cut back to Sebastien Loeb, the 9 times World Rally Champion. Just a bit of trim, I think, just peeling off on the left-hand side. But John, we can see him driving now, and his feet are the thing to watch, aren't they? The delicacy with which you need in these conditions as well.
Yes, I mean, this is actually almost like a rally for Sebastien Loeb. It's a very long rally stage, but I mean, he's used to driving in very slippery conditions, snow, ice, wet, dry, whatever. Both feet are part of the action. You see his left foot coming off the brake onto the throttle with his right, then he modulates the throttle just to steer and check the car, then his left foot is now completely away from the brake. He doesn't want to allow his left foot to ride the brake while he's on full throttle. Now back onto the brake, steering the car, turning in.
Yeah, it's fantastic to watch, isn't it? And a few moments of opposite lock here and there for Sebastien as he continues to lead this race. But the pit stop window will open in 2 minutes' time, and that's got to be the concern, really, for Sebastien Loeb and the Sebastien Loeb Racing team, because yesterday in the pit stops, the WRT squad were some 7 seconds quicker in the pit stops than Sebastien Loeb Racing, and if we see the same thing today, the Audi will come out in front.
Well, it depends when Sebastien Loeb or the Audi behind opt to come in. It's less than 3/4 of a second. So this is a real challenge coming up as the pit stop window is about to open. I anticipate, actually, Sebastien Loeb will be the first car in the pits, assuming we get to the 35 minutes. 20 before the pit lane opens, and he is still in a position to get in at the earliest opportunity, and then that Alvaro Peret. That's my view. But, wait and see.
I would say the same of Nicky Meyer-Manov. I think he will come in as soon as possible to hand over to Rene Rast, but we'll wait and see. So in 3rd place still is Maximilian Buch, very, very lonely there. 4th place Anthony Kumpen, 5th place Carlos Vieira, 6th place Caca Bueno, who only has a 1/6 of a second advantage over Andreas Zuber. Stumpf in 8th, Baumann in 9th, 10th is Ortelli, and 11th is Stippler. And in fact, this is the battle from 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th that you're seeing right there on the screen now. Frank Stippler had to retire that car yesterday because of an electrical failure, and there's been a drive-through penalty, interestingly, to Sergei Afanasyev for the contact with Ricardo Zonta. So it's that first contact that was clear.
I mean, that was an avoidable incident. He just stuck it down the inside, you know, like a snooker ball, bosh, into the pocket. Well, it wasn't the pocket, it was almost off the racetrack. There again, these 4 cars battling. Ford way out to the left, Lamborghini trying to get down the inside, 2 Audis squabbling over who's going to get that position, whether it's 11th or 12th.
For Afanasyev, this is his first race weekend in that Mercedes, and talking to Karun Chandok, Karun was telling you, wasn't he, that because you're sitting so far back in the car, the front of the car's so far away, it can be difficult to judge the front of the SLS sometimes.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's quite different to I would say the majority of racing cars that we would see racing around the world, because the driver's seat is literally on the back axle, and it is a mid-engine, front-engine car. Engines are a long, long way ahead of you.
So on board with Sebastien Loeb, the gap between them comes down again to under half a second. So this is going to be, well, it has been a very impressive drive from Nicky Meyer-Melnhof, who in all senses of the word, both in categorization and in the way he enters, is an amateur, but he's driving very professionally this afternoon.
Yes, and the lights are flashing, trying to distract Sebastien Loeb, and goes all the way down. I don't know why Loeb insists on using the right-hand part of the racetrack, then coming back again. Well, he's not interfering with the Audi's progress. I'm not comfortable. You've got to decide. You stay on one side or the other. If you make the move, then you've got to stay there. But he's going from left to right, then back to the left.
So Stippler, Zonta and Chanduk have all come into the pits to hand over to their second driver. There is Frank Stippler. He's handed over now to Edward Sandstrom, and the WRT squad very happy with that, because I think they've come out in front, and here is Kaka Bueno now coming under pressure from Andreas Zuber. How long will it be before Zuber comes in to hand over to Parisi? I think in all that, the reason they were cheering is Stippler got in front of Ricardo Zonta in the pit stops. In fact, I'm not sure Zonta and Chanduk are even out of the pits at the moment, but we'll keep an eye out on that one, because the order was Chanduk, Zonta, Stippler, wasn't it? So we'll see how that transpires. But Andreas Zuber now looking very, very racy to try and get that fourth place away from Kaka Bueno. And Meyer-Melnhof has come into the... No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. Yes, we have two screens here, one for Pro, one for Pro-Am. I was looking just at the Pro. So Meyer-Melnhof's still out there, but he'll be coming into the pits before too long. So Sebastien Loeb and Nicky Meyer-Melnhof continuing to battle, and they've, in fact, Karun Chanduk's come out just behind them. Sorry, Jan Seyfarth now in the battle has come out just behind them, but they're very, very close to one another. Different lines through turn 6 as well.
Just got to comment that the line that the Audi takes, the line that McLaren takes, is the exit of the corner. Oh, Sebastian, who's this? Other seatbelts turned up. Has he got the seat in the right position?
That's Ortelli was moving the steering column, probably in preparation for Laurens Vanthoor getting in, because they're quite a height difference, those two. Ortelli gets in, plugs into the radio, and Vanthoor gets in, plugs into the radio, and Ortelli puts his belts on for him.
Yep, now that's what the co-driver or the drivers do. They share the workload.
Not easy to get into these cars, are they?
Well, not when you're 16, whatever you are. I mean, there's not a lot of room, and in some race cars there's less room than others, as we look at Zonta having to defend again from Zuber as they come down the straight. So these two are Bueno, they're going to be battling. Who goes in first will be interesting to see.
So where will Ortelli come out then with regards to his teammate Edward Sandstrom? Sorry, Vanthoor come out with regards to his teammate Edward Sandstrom. Let's have a look. Through turn 1 he comes, and it's difficult to tell because Sandstrom is nowhere to be seen, whether that's because he's miles in front or miles behind. It's difficult to tell as the rain continues to come down here at turn 4. But there is Laurens Vanthoor. Still only half a second between Loeb and Meyer-Melnhof up at the front. And I am surprised Meyer-Melnhof didn't come in kind of as soon as possible to hand over to René Rast, who you would say is the quicker driver of the pair. Now we're watching Sergio Jimenez, who has taken over from Ricardo Zonta. And right behind him, he has got Alex Buncombe as they come out and head down the back straight once more. And Buncombe is very close, towards the inside line, and this should be job done for Alex Buncombe.
Yeah, he did a good job. He measured that very well. He got it right in the exit of turn 5, got the momentum, and it was made in relative terms an easy overtake. Jimenez didn't do anything aggressive to defend, maybe just focusing on what was going on ahead of him. As we go back, this is the battle for the lead, and in fact the Mercedes of Seyfarth is actually running almost, you might say, quicker on fresher wet weather tyres, that is, than the two lead cars are doing.
Yeah, well, Jan was very, very quick yesterday, Jan Seyfarth, at the wheel of that 28 Mercedes. So he has made his pit stop, so he's a lap down and everything, so he's totally not involved in this at all.
Yeah, but his lap time, here we look at the Lamborghini and the Ford.
Matthias Stumpf and Dominic Baumann. And they're battling over 7th place. Neither of them have made their pit stop. And Stumpf is in that 7th place ahead of Baumann, but then he loses it.
Just on throttle on the edge of the corner, just too greedy, maybe caught the edge of the curb. Different levels of grip between the racetrack and the curbing. And around she went, and there is...
In comes Sebastien Loeb. into the pit lane, as if the weekend couldn't get worse for the sister car. A drive-through penalty has been given to Mike Parisi and Andreas Zuber for not respecting their start position, which is a real shame for them after a great race. But this is the crucial pit stop then. Alvaro Parent taking over from Sebastien Loeb. Yesterday, when these two came into the pits, their total pit stop time for the number 9 car was 48.611 seconds compared to 43.3 for the WRT squad.
And the Sebastien Loeb team saying, well done Seb, good job, but they would probably do anyway. That was a good job. We've seen them leading, or taking the lead in the dry yesterday. We've seen them lead from pole here, and a London challenge from the Audi, managing to keep it. Alvaro Parent now pulls down on those shoulder straps just to make sure they are biting into his shoulders. Gives a quick flick of the wheel to get a sense of what the grip's doing. Gets on the car, back onto the racetrack, and he now needs to do a very strong out lap to make sure that the gap, that when the Audi change comes, that the overlap between the two pit stops are favourable, and therefore see the McLaren retain the lead. Sebastien Loeb explains his stint, and yeah, he did a good job.
The difficulty is now, though, isn't it? Because Alvaro Parent is going out, very experienced driver, very good racer, but he's not going to know where the grip is on this circuit, whilst Meir Manhoff is out there knowing exactly how to push, exactly where he can push, and he's coming into the pits now. Oh, close to that white line, but I think he got away with it.
He did. He was on the right side of the white line. So this is going to be the key pit stop, the crucial driver change. Get wheels off, wheels on, and to see what René Rast, who is absolutely stunning, but a great job done by Nicky Meyer-Melnhof, and put pressure all the way through the first half of this race.
They've got a problem. They've got a problem. They haven't. Meyer-Melnhof hasn't lowered the car, or turned off the engine, or there was some drama at the rear right. The men were shouting. So whether he hadn't killed the engine, one of them had to go in and turn the engine off. I presume, because the engine cannot be running when you're making the pit stops. Correct. So here comes Alvaro Parent. This could make this very close indeed. They got the rear left going.
It's a problem. It's not coming off easily, and that's cost time. Audi have lost a bunch of time. Cars now.
Away goes René Rast as Alvaro Parent comes down the pit straight then, and I think Parent is going to take this one. And WRT are quite a long way down the pit lane. It's going to be so close, but here comes Alvaro Parent to move into the lead of the race. No! René Rast holds on! René Rast holds on, but Parent's going to know where the grip is.
Yeah, but believe me, René Rast, now he's got ahead. He had to do what he had to do, and he will hold up the McLaren. He knows that in these conditions, Alvaro Parent won't have the latitude that he had in the dry conditions when he chased that car through all the way in the dry session. Now, out of turn 5, that was the corner of the Audi, was stronger than the McLaren in the dry, and we still think that the Audi's marginally better, but Parent is well positioned. He's going to get a draft. Watch for Rast going to the right, Parent's got to go to the left. Can he have enough speed in the straight to go the long way round? Rast is going to be late in the brakes, as he was in the dry on Sunday, and he's maintained the position, and Parent's going to have to get out of it.
It's Groundhog Day for Alvaro Parent, isn't it? He thought he might have a bit of clear air to drive in today, but instead he's been put out right behind René Rast, where he spent most of yesterday. So perhaps the advantage for Parent is that in the wet, the grip is in different places. So whereas yesterday he could only really make a traditional attack for the overtake, here, you know, around the outside might be a little more doable because of the way that the track works in the wet.
I mean, basically, in these conditions, you're fighting grip, whether it's inside, outside, or the middle. You then get an extremely competitive and combative component like René Rast, who knows exactly what he needs to do to make that Audi appear to be 3 times as wide as it actually is.
Absolutely. So the Sebastien Loeb Racing Squad and WRT are both going to be absolutely glued to this. The pit stop window will close in a minute. Everyone has made their pit stops now. No real changes in the top 4 or 5. Matthias Stumpf is up to 5th place. No, Sandstrom is up to 4th place, actually, as we go on board with Alvaro Parent. We'll give you a full rundown of the order in a few moments' time. And there's contact! René Rast is sent spinning. Alvaro Parent lifts his hand to say sorry. What's he going to do? What's he going to do now?
Well, he's got damage to the left front of the McLaren, but what occurred was that René Rast was slightly wider entering into the exit of turn 4. Alvaro Parente was quicker, and he got the nose of the car down the inside of the Audi, closed the door, and bang into the back of the Audi. Damage to the front. You can see the damage to the front of the McLaren. Is he going to have a puncture? Is there bodywork damage? Is that car secure, or will Alvaro Parente have to make it into the pits?
Well, what an interesting turn of events here with 25 minutes to go in the first main race of 2013. Alvaro Parente will have to see if he has to come into the pits, but even if he stays out there, he's in the lead of the race now. He surely will receive a penalty for that. Contact between cars 9 and 12 is under investigation. Nicky Meyer-Melnhof, how often have we seen him furious in the garage? And let's see it again.
Well, look,
watch the Parente saying I'm sorry.
No, forget about that. Look how wide we're looking at René Rast. Parente is on the inside. It's a closing gap. Parente didn't think he's doing anything wrong, but it was inevitable. All he could have done was lift it off and ensure the contact didn't happen, but he didn't lift off sufficiently. The contact occurred, and now number 9 and 12 cars are under investigation, and the team manager of car 9 has been required to go immediately to race director.
Now, is there any argument here that Parente should let René Rast back through into the lead of the race? Because if he stays out in the lead like this, he knows, he said sorry, he knows that he was in the wrong there.
All that can happen, in my opinion, is that Alvaro Parente will receive a time penalty. In other words, he may receive a 20 or a 30-second penalty that would be added on to his final race time, and that's the only way I would have assumed that it would be fair to the Audi and the Audi team.
Yep, or a drive-through penalty, of course, as they come through the left-hander. This is now the battle between Jan Seyfarth and Sergio Jimenez over 8th position. Purple first sector for Laurens Vanthoor, and Alex Buncombe's just done the purple third sector. Very impressive performance from Buncombe in 10th place. So, as it stands, Alvaro Parente leads, René Rast second in the Audi, 3rd is Alan Day in the Mercedes, 4th is Edward Sandstrom in the WRT Audi, 5th is Anthony Kumpen in the Phoenix Racing machine. 6th place is at the moment Mike Parisi, but I don't think he's taken that drive-through penalty that we saw he was given. 7th place is Cesar Campanico. 8th place is Laurens Vanthoor. 9th is Adam Coder. 10th is Alex Buncombe, and 11th is Harry Prochik. So that's how things are going at the moment. Laurens Vanthoor goes purple in sector 1 again. Here's Jan Seyfarth about to pass Sergio Jimenez to move up into 12th position, and through he goes. Jimenez doesn't get the car stopped in time and runs wide.
No, he didn't. I mean, it sort of looked a bit limp. I have to say that I thought Jimenez could have done better than he did do. The Mercedes wasn't alongside as they got to the corner. It was only because Jimenez ran wide that the Mercedes was able to take the corner.
22 minutes to go. There is Dominic Baumann. Sorry, it's Harry Prochik now at the wheel of that car. He's running in 11th place, just outside the points. Points just like in Formula 1.
Car 10, not respecting
That's
start
just a
position.
reminder,
That's a reminder
of Mike
yeah,
Parisi's drive-through. Yes, so Harry Prochik in 11th place. The points, that's it. 25 points for the win, 18 for second place, just like in Formula 1, down into 10th position. As they come down towards turn 7. And still damage on Alvaro Parente's car. René Rast then, let's look at the lap times. They're still lapping very, very evenly. And Alan Day might come under pressure from Edward Sandstrom, because Sandstrom's just gone purple in sector 1 and was 0.3 of a second quicker than Alan Day on that last lap. And then we've got some flashing lights behind. That is going to be Laurens Vanthoor at the wheel of the number 8 car as he tries to make his way past Jan Stovacek, who's currently in the Gentleman's Trophy. Fabien Barthez is leading the Gentleman's Trophy, the 1998 World Cup winner. The goalkeeper for France and Manchester United is leading the Gentleman's Trophy, so that's good to see at his home race. As that's just some lappery going on there.
But
and there's Mascarello.
Yeah, but it's, where you get past these lap cars, it's just about as critical as getting past a car you're in a race with, because it's so easy to get held up for a sequence of corners. Laurens Vanthoor got it done coming out of 7 through 8 and into turn 9, and he's on his way.
So there is our race leader, Alvaro Parente. The gap is 3.3 seconds between the two of them, and on that last lap, René Rast was 0.6 of a second quicker than Alvaro Parente. And there's 3.3 seconds between them, so if that gap continues to come down each time, we may well see Rast on the tail of Parent before too long.
Well, will he be on the tail or will he literally be on the tail?
Exactly. That's the question. Down onto the main straight again, and Parent's doing it as well. Not just Loeb.
I don't know. I mean, now we're saying
Rast is copying
doing the same thing. Now, whether they feel that, well, in a straight line, what difference does it make?
Unless it cools the tyres, because the tyres are getting overheated, but that usually happens when the circuit's dry.
Jack, believe me, I was out there for half an hour. It ain't going to heat the tyres up. Ground temperature is probably about 0.
So here now is Alain Coder coming under pressure from Alex Buncombe, who's having a really good race in the Nissan. He's now battling over 9th place. The WRT is still the quickest cars out there. Vanthor goes purple again in Sector 1, but watch for the Nissan of Alex Buncombe. Will he peel to the inside and send one up the inside of Alain Coder going into the 7? He will, and he gets the car stopped. Very good to see.
Yeah, good pass. We've seen a number of those from Alex Buncombe, and that was another classic get the car positioned rightly. He got fair play. In fairness from the BMW, he got the car alongside, he took the corner away, and he's now made up one more position up into 9th place.
The sister RJ and Nissan is currently running in 14th place in the hands of Mark Szorzycki. And here's a look at a replay, and well, there's the same thing. We've seen it before. But,
I mean, in most terms, I would say that would be seen as a avoidable incident, and there would be, look, Sebastien Loeb knows as well, that would ordinarily, in the dry conditions, certainly be seen as a penalty. In these conditions, because the Audi was much wider in the corner, the McLaren much lower on the corner, well, maybe it's going to be something decided by the stewards. Whether it'll happen before the final lap of this race, we've got just 19 minutes remaining. And the gap is down to 2.4 seconds. René Rast has clawed back most of the last time as Sebastien Loeb, in discussion with some of the engineers, maybe looking at some of the potentials that might befall Alvaro Parent before this race is concluded.
Down into turn 7, that last lap, where you can see the gaps here, 0.8 of a second pretty much every lap, apart from the lap it was 0.6 that René Rast has taken out of Alvaro Parent, which is very impressive. That the Sebastian Loeb Racing McLarens were all over the shop in warm-up in the wet, weren't they? They got it all right on Friday, Saturday, but this morning, nowhere.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Alvaro Parent goes on and wins this race, there's only one question he's going to be asked.
Absolutely. And we will...
Was it an avoidable incident?
Yeah, no, exactly. But I imagine the stewards will answer that question before they allow him to win the race.
I want to hear it from the lips of the man.
Well, you're
not on a bit of paper from the stewards room.
You're going to be down there. You'll have every opportunity to ask him. So there is 0. Alain Coder, 6th place for him. He's just been passed by Laurence Vanthor. But it's still a strong performance. Vanthor again, purple in Sector 1. Every lap, Laurence Vanthor is going purple in Sector 1. And this is on board with Alain Coder as he comes down into the right-hander, the 31-year-old Brazilian from Sao Paulo. Raced in GT3 last year, in GT3 Brazil, that is. Picked up 4 wins, 3 at Interlagos and 1 at Orlando Miura. A1GP with Team Lebanon, Formula Renault Brazil champion. You can see there.
Yeah, again, just watching the contrasting driving styles of Sebastien Loeb and Alain Coder in the BMW, and very much more a right foot drive, but I mean still left foot braking. But the two driving styles, one fundamentally based on a rally, the other very much on a stock car Brazil style of motorsport. Lots of lock as he tries to swing the car one way and the other. And he's looking at the head and the angle of his head. He's sort of slightly looking sideways as he drives the car through some of those corners.
Yeah, absolutely. As he shifts up through the sequential gearbox in the Z4 before he hammers on the brakes, coming down into the right-hand hairpin at turn 7. And this is the battle over 3rd place now. Alan Day ahead of Edward Sandstrom. And Sandstrom's been very, very quick so far in this race. His best lap is a 37.5, whereas the number 1 best lap is a 38.4. So Sandstrom should be able to get past Alan Day before too long. The gap at the front is down to just 1.8 seconds, though. We're going to have a battle on for the lead once again before too long. So we've got battle for the lead, battle for 3rd, and 5th place man Enzo Eid is all alone at the moment.
Yeah, well, and the battle for the lead clearly will be the crucial battle, but nevertheless, it's getting on the final podium spot. Audi are going to push very hard there. You go back to the battle for the lead. Alvaro Perez, and we look at now René Rast. René Rast using the lower line in turn 5, the McLaren running the higher ground to try and gain some grip on the outside of the racetrack. We look at the 3rd and 4th place again, the Audi slightly higher than the Mercedes as they go through 5 and in the crucial run through 6, and this is where the Audi had previously, I believe, an advantage over certainly the McLaren in the dry, and we now look to see whether the Audi's got any advantage or not over the Mercedes in the wet. And Mercedes going defensive, Audi goes out to the left to try and get the cut back under brakes. He's not really got enough position to make it stick unless there's an error from the Mercedes, but he stuck it down the inside. Can he make it work?
That's going to be a close one. Edward Sandstrom not quite close enough in that white FIFA 13 Audi. Very, very close between the two of them, though. And a little look up into that left-hander. That's an interesting one from Sandstrom. He's getting frustrated, isn't he? He wants to get past and up into 3rd place as quickly as possible. It'll be 3rd place in the race, but also 2nd place in the Pro Cup, which is very important as well. Give him 18 World Series points going into the next round in Zolder in 3 weeks' time. And you can see how quickly Sandstrom has reeled in the Mercedes of Alan Day, but still, first GT race for Alan Day. Good performance.
Extremely good performance.
Car 8 apparently is slow between turns 12 and 13, which is the 2nd Ford GT in the Gentleman's Trophy, so that will be a shame for Mascarello and Felipe Tozzo if they have run into trouble with 14 minutes to go. But this is the battle over 3rd place. Gap at the front is down to less than a second though as well, so where to watch. That's the difficulty for everyone here at the circuit.
Now just keep an eye on these two cars. Watch what the Mercedes does into turn 5. It stays low. Audi stays high, trying to get the grip on the outside of the corner to get the drive off the corner. Again, to get the turn through 6 to maximise the exit speed. There, the Audi of the 2nd place in the battle with Perez. And again, the headlights flashing to indicate I'm not going to... Well, you didn't take any prisoners last time.
Enzo Eid is actually lapping quicker than these two.
He's catching up because simply the Mercedes doing all it can Alan Day to stay in 3rd place, but slowing down this battle for that 3rd place. Enzo Eid is closing down. Sandstrom has to go high to try and find momentum. Mercedes stays slow to defend the inside of the corner. The Audi cuts back and makes a look down the inside of turn 9, but nowhere to go.
This is some serious defensive driving now from Alan Day. The Israeli going to the inside line pretty much every corner, which is the best way to keep Edward Sandstrom behind. One of 2 Swedes in the field, Edward Sandstrom. And there's his teammate Frank Stippler in the garage. Happy to be on TV, but he'd rather see his teammate make the move as they come through the final corner at turn 14. 12.5 minutes to go. This is the battle over 3rd position. Gap at the front is down to half a second as Alan Day goes defensive. Nowhere through yet for Edward Sandstrom. On that last lap then, Enzo Eid did a 38.4, so another 0.6 of a second taken out of the advantage in front. But here is the battle between 1st and 2nd places. Alvaro Perez in the lead in the number 9. Sebastien Loeb racing McLaren. René Rast behind in the WRT, Belgian Audi Club R8. Down the back straight they go, and these two are squabbling as well.
But better position, though. This is back to the lead. We're jumping from 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th. The battle into turn 7 stays with Perez. The battle for 3rd and 4th may change because Sundstrom, I thought, was slightly nearer to the back of Alan Day going onto the straight. There we go. Day goes to the right, and the Audi has to go to the left, and Stein is right literally under the rear guard of that Mercedes-Benz. Again, using the Audi's strength.
Here he goes. He's going to barge his way through, splashing through the puddles, and Edward Sandstrom gets past. That cheers Nicky Mounthoff up a little bit. Enzo Eid tries to take advantage, but isn't quite close enough. But a forceful move from Edward Sandstrom. Perfectly fair, in my opinion.
I think it was fair enough. I mean, it was a move. He was all over the back of Alan Day. There was a small opportunity which he was able to, Edward Sandstrom, to force an issue. It didn't actually do any damage or cause any issue to the Mercedes-Benz. So I would have put that one down to a hard but a passable pass.
So Edward Sandstrom is up into 3rd position overall, 2nd place in the Pro Cup, and Enzo Eid is going to try and follow through as well now. Good strong performance from Enzo Eid, who had a very frustrating year last season, but this year him and Anthony Kumpen look like they're a strong pairing in that Pro Cup lineup. Here's the move again.
Right, so the Mercedes in the middle of the road, the Audi sees an opportunity, there's space down the inside, you have to make it for you. There was a rub wheel to wheel, both front and rear, and once the Audi got the ground, then really there was nothing much that Alain Day was able to do about it. And you can see the joy, and that isn't Prince William in the pits, that's Nicky Meyer-Melnhof.
So here comes the battle for the lead down towards turn 7. Alvaro Parent, René Rast, 10 minutes to go. And it's these two cars again. Drive through for car number 9. Alvaro Parent for releasing belts before the car was stopped. Alvaro Parent, who we're on board with now, the race leader, has to do a drive-through penalty.
Well, that's interesting. That was Sebastien Loeb who released the belts before the car stopped. Everybody does that. The difference between loosening them and releasing them.
Loeb being told now, and he reacted quite well, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's learned. You know, he's the boss. You know, the buck stops with Sebastien. You know, that's what happens when you're the boss. Somebody's got to take the blame. It's the boss.
Absolutely.
Boss.
Yeah. Into the left-hander comes Alvaro Parent, and he comes into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty, and René Rast takes the lead of the race. So, well, I mean, a shame for the race,
yes.
But rules are rules, and taking your seatbelt off is possibly the most dangerous thing you can do.
Well, what drivers normally do is when they come into the pits, they release the shoulder straps and they use their shoulders to loosen the belts up. But what Sebastien Loeb has apparently done is actually release the buckle, and then the belts from split, and he comes back in just behind Alain Day.
Yeah, just behind Alain Day and just in front of Enzo Ede. So that is going to be... Oh, and Enzo Ede gets through.
Yeah,
so
Enzo
that's
Ede,
5th place now for Parent.
Ede had the opportunity. He saw that the McLaren was going to be on the left-hand side of the track. He followed through behind Alain Day, and he will now be looking to try and take that 4th spot away from Alain Day in about 8.5 minutes or so remaining.
It'll be 3rd spot now that Alain Day is sitting in. So a very, very interesting turn of events here, and well, seemingly no punishment for the contact between the pair of them, but punishment for a seatbelt infringement coming down into turn 7. This is going to get fun though, because this is now all over 2nd place. Here's a look at the replay in a few moments' time. We should be able to see exactly what happened with Sebastien Loeb and Alvaro Parent, but this 3-way squabble over 3rd place is going to be very, very entertaining, I think, in the remaining 8 minutes. There's Sandstrom comfortably now in 2nd place in Pro Cup, and well, still 2nd place in Pro Cup, and 3rd and 2nd overall now as well. Here we go.
So we're coming into the pits, and he's undone the buckle. The seatbelt buckle has been undone. The car's still rolling. All done, been practiced, but of course that is contravention of the regulations. As I said, you're allowed to loosen the belts by using the shoulder straps, but not to release the buckle. Now, many, many people in the history of sports car racing, GT racing, whatever, have done what Sebastien Loeb has done. But the spy in the cab caught him.
Exactly. If he wasn't so famous, we wouldn't have put a camera in his car. So Sebastien Loeb has to do the drive-through penalty. And René Rast now leads the way, also leading in Pro-Am Cup. My apologies, Edward Sandstrom is now 2nd overall, but also in the lead of the Pro Cup, which is very good news for WRT. And here's the continuing battle over 3rd position and 2nd in Pro Cup.
Enzo Ede goes way wide around the outside of the corner. Mercedes and the McLaren tuck in on the more traditional line. Enzo Ede, and if you're looking at Alvaro Parent, you can see there's a slight struggle for grip as he comes through turn 6 again, pulling on the belts just to make sure that those are tight. Enzo Ede goes to the left, can't get far enough up to challenge the Mercedes into turn 7, and Alvaro Parent's watching it, no doubt frustrated by the fact that in spite of an incident that potentially could have seen them being penalised, it was because his boss hadn't done the belts up. Ede goes now to try and do to Alain Day what we saw Edward Sandstrom do some laps earlier, that dive down the inside and make it a forced pass.
So into the final sequence of corners they come out by the old pits, and I think Parent must have got damage in that contact because his pace dropped off massively and he's not able to keep with these two. Here's Enzo Ede. Ooh, a little tempting look up the inside, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some damage to the front splitter or something that's losing him some downforce. They also need to be careful because the 4th car in this queue is Laurens Vanthoor now, and he suddenly smells perhaps a class podium.
Actually, looking at the McLaren, looking at the Audi, clearly the McLaren was sliding more coming through turn 14, 13 and 14 than the Audi directly ahead of Enzo Ede, and there we see Laurens Vanthoor in the 2nd of these Audis, with an Audi of René Rast leading. which was sort of a mirror of 1 year ago. So in these conditions, clearly Audi have got an advantage. Probably they've got it in the traction control, which is a variable traction control in the majority of these cars. I know in the Audi it is a superb system.
And here comes Laurens Vanthoor up the inside of Alvaro Perez. So close between the two of them. Almost a repeat of the incident we saw for the lead many laps ago. Car 13 under investigation. Possible overtaking under yellow flags. That's the Pro Cup leader, Edward Sandstrom. So it's all kicking off here in the stewards' room as we come down towards turn 7. It's 2 by 2 for 3rd and 5th. Alan Day goes defensive, as does the McLaren behind, but no movement just yet on that front with 5 minutes to go.
Well, it's tough racing outside of the leading car. René Rast, remember, was tagged by this car, the McLaren of Alvaro Perez. We thought he might have been out of the race, but he recovered. He caught up to the back of the McLaren. The McLaren then suffered as it. Oh, and Laurens Vanthoor almost caught the back of Perez's McLaren through turn 10.
Vanthoor knows if he gets past Perez, then before too long he can attack Eid and Day and be up in 2nd place perhaps, because there's only 4 minutes to go, so time is very much of the essence for Laurens Vanthoor. But René Rast continues to lead. Here is Perez and Vanthoor to the final 2 corners. Audi leads, Audi 2nd, Mercedes 3rd, Audi 4th, McLaren 5th. That's the way the brands are going at the moment as we go back on board with Laurens Vanthoor, the young Belgian driver who was very impressive in his first season of GT racing last year and is continuing that impressive form today.
Well,
big moments.
Yeah, both cars. You can see the McLaren also got a serious twitch on. That's allowed Vanthoor to get up along and inside and through turn 4.
Oh, he's going to run him off onto the out of room, isn't he? No, Perez stayed in there. It didn't look as though Vanthoor had given him enough room. Vanthoor will now have the inside line, though, coming through turn 6 and going down towards the hairpin. And I think Perez backed out of that. No, he's still in there. He's still there. And the McLaren's got better straight line speed. But surely Vanthoor with the inside line will get the job done under braking.
Yes, he does. Perez did everything he had to do through turn 4, through turn 5, through turn 6, got slight advantage on the straight, but Laurens Vanthoor was on the inside now. Alvaro Perez looking to come back up the inside into turn 9, then the short run down into turn 10. No space there for the McLaren driver.
They are lapping fairly quickly, to be honest. They're doing 37s, 38s, so they're only 10 seconds off a dry weather time, which isn't terrible, but it's still very, very slippery out there and almost drifting around. 3 minutes to go then. The battle for 3rd place is still on. Alan Day and Enzo Eid squabbling hard. Back end stepping out a little bit for Eid. Through the final corner, René Rast is still way up in the lead of this race, and Edward Sandstrom is way off in 2nd place as well. So this is the 3rd place battle. The number 1, HDP, Gravity Charouz, Mercedes SLS, and the number 5, Phoenix Racing, Audi R8 LMS. And soon to be joined, I think, by the 2nd Audi. Whether Vanthoor can get in quickly enough remains to be seen, but look at Alvaro Perez dropping back. Real shame for them.
I mean, whether there's damage to the car in terms of the aero of the car. Now look at Enzo Eid, goes way, way high, actually loses ground. Laurens Vanthoor is going to take that place, I would imagine, very shortly. 4th place is available to Vanthoor because Eid ran wide, and last time that gave a little bit of relief to Alain Day and the Mercedes in 3rd place. Eid goes out to the right and Vanthoor stays on the left.
So Edward Sandstrom there in 2nd position, running fairly lonely. It's a very good performance and a very good recovery from him and Frank Stippler, who had to retire from yesterday's race. They started in 21st place on the grid, and we've got 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining, so this may be the penultimate lap, I think, depending when René Rast comes across the line.
Well, that's going to be very, very shortly, because he is about, what, 20 seconds ahead of this battling group of cars, not these particular ones, but they may just sneak another one in, but I suspect that we will see this as the last lap.
Rast has just come across the line with 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock, so this will be the final lap of the race. René Rast, it should be fairly easy for, but Alan Day and Enzo Eid are both going to have to watch their mirrors as they come out over the start-finish straight again. Very close between the Mercedes and the 2 Audis. The McLaren's dropping back all the time. Look at the speed Vanthor carries around the outside of 1, up the inside into 2. Beautiful move from Laurens Vanthor. Stefan Ortelli and Nicky Mermanov delighted with that. Well, that was a brilliant move.
It was certainly one that there was no prisoner taken. Enzo Weed, who'd been battling for third place with the Mercedes-Benz. I did mention a lap or two ago, he looked like he'd put himself into a position where he was losing ground to Vanthor. Vanthor now on the final lap looks to make it a podium position to try and get ahead of Day in the Mercedes.
So on board with Vanthor, he's currently in 4th place. The car in front is in 3rd. The car in front is a Mercedes driven by Alan Day. Already Vanthor is now 3rd in the Pro Cup class. This will give him 3rd overall and 2nd in Pro Cup. On the brakes, coming down into the turn 7 hairpin. Went deep in to try and get the traction out, and he's done it! Vanthor gets past Alan Day! Vanthor up into 3rd position now, 2 cars past in the space of 1 lap. Brilliant! And here comes Enzo E to try and get past Day. No,
it appeared that almost Alan Day thought last lap, no problem, but Laurens Vanthor was absolutely possessed and got the move. It was a clean move, and take away now on through the podium.
But there's René Rast crossing the finish line to take the checkered flag. He wins the race. He and Nicky Mermanov will be absolutely delighted with that. 2nd place in the race goes to Edward Sandstrom across the line. 3rd position is going to be Alan Day. It's going to be Laurens Vanthor, of course. After a brilliant drive, Laurens Vanthor takes 3rd place, 2nd in Pro Cup. Alan Day 4th, Enzo Eid 5th, Alvaro Perez 6th. 7th place overall is Cesar Campanico, and that's 2nd in the Pro-Am Cup. But look at those guys, absolutely delighted down there at WRT. But drive of the race, without doubt, goes to Laurens Vanthor. That was phenomenal. Brilliant to see. It's as if they've, well, WRT have taken, therefore, also a 1-2 in the Pro Cup. So whilst René Rast will win the race, it's a 1-2 in the Pro Cup for WRT. It's a 1-2-3 on the podium for WRT. They're only running 3 cars. They win in the Pro-Am Cup as well. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal performance from them. And, well, with all the different battles going on, it kind of slips your mind who's driving for who when René Rast is out in the lead. But a 1-2-3 on the podium it'll be for WRT Audi, and what a phenomenal start to the season, and in particular Laurens Vanthor. I mean, that was just some brilliant driving, and the first, and oh, that's very good news as well. It's just been announced, car 13, Edward Sandstrom, no further action taken. He obviously didn't overtake under waved yellow flags, so that's good news for him as well. So through the final 2 corners they come. Sandstrom, Vanthor and Day, 13, 11 and 1. The top 3 in the Pro Cup. René Rast, Cesar Campanico and Alex Bunker, the top 3 in Pro-Am. Fabian Barthez and Gerard Tonelli win in their Sofrev Ferrari in the Gentleman's Trophy. What an absolutely thrilling race as they pull back into the pit lane now, and we're going to see a very happy WRT squad as they pull in. A win in both Pro-Am Cups. And there is René Rast, the race winner. Vanthor will take the plaudits, but let us not forget, René Rast put in an absolutely stonking drive. WRT delighted. Vincent Voss in the cap on the left-hand side, congratulating René. René Rast over the moon, and there, getting out of the car, Laurens Vanthor and Edward Sandstrom. Sandstrom probably had no idea until just now that that Vanthor had finished in that 3rd place. As the rest of the cars go into Parc Fermé, not sure where Edward Sandstrom thinks he's off to, but we can now hear from the race winners, René Rast and Nicky Mermanov.
Congratulations, René. Fantastic drive after that incident with the McLaren.
Yeah, I was a bit angry. I mean, somehow he touched me a bit. I didn't really felt it, but he touched me a bit. I spun. But then it was a cool race. I catch up, and then he unfortunately got it right through. And we won our Pro-Am class, and yeah, I'm very happy and pleased. Thanks to the team, they did a great job.
Nicky, I've never seen you look so happy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a dream come true for me to win overall our Pro-Am. It doesn't matter. We won the race in the first GT series this year, so I'm more than happy. I can't say anything. It's just amazing and just a good drive from him, and it was so difficult to follow Loeb and not to make a mistake, and he didn't do a single mistake. So, but I pushed the maximum I could, and it was a perfect race.
Good job.
Great stuff from René Rast and Nicky Meermanhoff. On goes the Pirelli caps after the Pirelli wet tyre, and here's a replay of that hit. René Rast there in the lead, number 12, bump. Only a small touch from Parent, but it's enough in these slippery conditions to send René Rast round. In the dry, that wouldn't have been too much of a drama, I don't think. There's Stefano Telli then. He and Laurens Vanthoor winning, well, taking the podium on the final lap of the race. Really stunning performance from Laurens Vanthoor. Can't wait to hear from him. And the German broadcasters getting in for the interview with René Rast, but there is Frank Stippler and Stefano Telli. Such a great team spirit down there at WRT. When you compare it to the miserable day they had yesterday, absolutely miserable. And today is quite a different turn of events. So now we can hear from Frank Stippler, who finished second overall along with Edward Sandstrom.
Frank, this has been an Audi fest here today, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, I didn't expect that. We started from the rear because we had some starter problems yesterday during the pit stop, and I took the first 10 competitors in the first half of the race, and I think the brilliant WRT team took another 5 during the pit stop because they were unbelievable fast. And Eddie did the rest, and now we are on the podium, and it's much better than expected yesterday.
Edward, great drive from Audi. You were a star today.
Thank you very much. It's easy when you have a good Audi in your hands and the weather is Scandinavian. Then everything comes together, and I'm really grateful for that. So,
well, go off and enjoy it. Many thanks. Well done.
So they go and join their teammates, and the classic racing driver. I didn't have much grip. Hand signals, and there's Laurens Vanthoor and Stefano Telli. Look at this from Laurens Vanthoor. I told you he was taking lots of speed into 1. Managed to go right the way around the outside of Ede, which gave him the inside line for 2. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And we can now hear from Stefano Telli, the Monegasque driver, who is with John.
Stefan, difficult day at the beginning, but you came through in the end. Brilliant drive by you and by Laurent.
It's difficult to talk about the race because I'm just focused on what he did in the last 2 laps. He's just drove one of the best race of his life. I think you really impressed me, Lorenz. What you did in the end is just amazing. We did a very safe start, overtaking as much as I could, and Lorenz did a perfect job. We lost around 8 seconds in the pits, but
Laurent, a fantastic overtake. I mean, incredible. We were screaming in the commentary booth. The fans at home are doing their heads in.
Well, we didn't win the race, but this is definitely the best race of my life. It's like you can do on a PlayStation 1 time on 1,000. I think I didn't breathe in the last lap, but it was incredible. It feels like we won a championship. So enjoyed I am. It was really fun.
Excellent. Well done. Many thanks.
Absolutely brilliant work from Laurens Vanthoor. And here was the second move then. Forced Alan Day to go defensive into the hairpin. Focused on getting the maximum speed out of the corner that he could, using the traction of that Audi. Got alongside, little biff with Alan Day, but all's fair in racing, isn't it? And up the inside he goes, and WRT over the moon. So here's a look at the results. It's a Belgian Audi Club WRT 1-2-3, with the win going the way of René Rast and Nicky Meermanhoff. We also had the HTP Gravity Shrews Mercedes finishing in 4th position. Phoenix Racing in 5th place. Sebastien Loeb Racing, after starting on pole position, Loeb and Parent will be disappointed with 6th place, but still, first race in their championship, not too bad. Carlos Vieira and Cesar Campanico finishing in 2nd place in Pro-Am. Alex Buncombe and Lucas Ordonez in 8th place are 3rd in Pro-Am. And Kaka Bueno and Alan Cordair finishing in 10th place. A decent effort from them on their debut in European racing. 13th, 14th and 15th places you can see there being the second cars of all of those teams. Ricardo Zonta and Sergio Jimenez, Wolfgang Reip and Mark Scholzitsky. Good performance from them. 14th place. They're part of the 2 years ago they were racing PlayStations. Matthias Stumpf in 15th place with Claudio Ricci alongside him. Afanasiev and Simonsen, Kilvitz and Kenetic, Ibrahim and Jus and Mascarello and Tozzo completing our 22 finishers. So, well, the fans have braved the weather conditions. And there is the award for the mechanics, and no surprise it's going the way of WRT as they stand on the top step of the podium. And they are delighted with that. Pirelli sponsoring an award for the fastest pit stop. And that's very good news for them. So, John, the fans have waited in the rain, but they were treated to a spectacular race.
Well, I mean, it turned out to be an Audi fest because the Audi drivers just came through in the last, 10 minutes, 5-7 laps. Laurens van Voor, I mean, Edward Sundstrom, René Rast, they've all been absolutely brilliant. And it wasn't easy. René Rast got tagged by McLaren. He came through past the McLaren, took the lead. Unfortunately, we saw that Alvaro Brent had to make that drive through because team boss, I have to say team boss, Sebastien Loeb, undid his seatbelts before he got the car to a standstill in that pit stop.
Absolutely, so it's going to be frustration for Sebastien Loeb Racing, but still a decent first weekend for them. There's no doubt about that here at the Paul Armagnac circuit, and there are the hardy French fans. Great to see them out in so many numbers. I mean, we came into the circuit this morning, didn't we? A little bit worried that the rain would mean it would be a bit quiet, but we got here relatively early, and it was already packed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the traditional Easter weekend race here at Nogaro. And, I mean, these are hardy people. They love the hunting, shooting and fishing, and coming to a wet morning or afternoon at Nogaro is only a part of that. And they'll go back home and have foie gras and duck and whatever they do for dinner, and lots of very robust red wine to wash it down.
Absolutely. You've had plenty of that very robust red wine this weekend. So,
excuse me.
Going down the back straight, I can see some Clios. So the fans have now got some Clio Cup action to look forward to as we wait for our podium presentations here in the FIA GT series. There you can see then, out onto second step, Laurens van Voor and Stefan Ortelli, and onto the top step of the podium, the Pro Cup winners, Edward Sandstrom and Frank Stippler. Third place going the way of Maximilian Buch and Alan Day. A strong performance from them, and there's Vincent Voss, the team boss, coming out there as well, and what a successful afternoon it's been for them. So the Belgian national anthem for the winning team, Belgian Audi Club WRT, and I think that'll mean a lot to Laurens van Voor, the Belgian driver, who must now be really looking forward to his home race in Zolder in 3 weeks' time. Sandstrom and Stippler on the top step. This is the Pro Cup podium, so we will see René Rast and Nicky Mermelov on the top step in a few moments' time in the Pro-Am podium. But a very, very entertaining race. Maximilian Buch and Alan Day. Good performance from them, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I think we're sort of maybe getting overshadowed by the Audi domination here, but I think Alan Day did a very good job basically having to deal with very competitive Audis behind him. And, well, I mean, just to go back to Laurens van Voor, he said he thought that was the best drive of his life. I mean, he was absolutely... You could see the delight and the satisfaction, and that of his teammate Stefan Ortelli standing beside. Both of them have worked very hard, but those closing laps by Laurens van Voor were absolutely special.
And it's Beth Mitterland giving Vincent Voss his trophy, and now they nearly went for the champagne, but I think they've got a few more prizes to receive. A box of foie gras, probably. That's what happens at And here it comes. I'm sure they'll be very happy with that. And, well, they're going to need a couple of hands, really, aren't they, to take that off. And look at that, Vandel's desperate for the champagne.
Here
he
they'll
goes.
just drop them over the top of the podium. There'll be guys from the team beneath to catch it, but there they are, the champagne or whatever they have down in Nogaro. It may be the local sparkling wine, but anyway, it's getting well and truly sprayed by very, very happy members of the Audi team. The two Mercedes drivers have disappeared very wisely, I think.
Absolutely. So Ortelli and Stippler getting along very well there, as you can see. Stefan Ortelli, this is well, his home race. He's a monegasque driver, but France is effectively his home race. As they stand now on the top step of the podium for their photographs. And the applause from the very large Maximilian Buch's in there somewhere, just to the back.
He sneaked back in after all the champagne had been sprayed, so wisely went behind the podium just to ensure that he stayed as dry as possible. Champagne, of course, well, some of the drivers will be damp from driving, others will have been dried out during the time we were in the pits, but thoroughly soaked once again. And trophies and champagne bottles, mementos and mementos as well, for that matter, are being taken away. And well, there'll be a pretty happy, I would think, press conference in a few moments' time as we now wait for the other podium ceremony.
I think you're absolutely right. The the Pro-Am Cup podium will be next, where we will have our overall race winner onto the top step. A great venue for the season opener here at Nogaro, isn't it? Because it's not a circuit that many race fans may have heard of. It's never been on the real Formula One radar, but you come here, there's loads of crowd. It's a great little circuit, very friendly, lovely area. It's great stuff.
Well, I think what the circuit emphasises to me is that it's got a character, it's got a personality. It's not completely bland with wide open spaces where you need a pair of binoculars to see where the runoff actually ends. I mean, it is an old school style circuit, and all the better for it, and particularly the section of the circuit around turn 10, 9, turn 11, which lead into the original pits at the circuit. So it's got that character and warmth that, you know, sometimes gets lost with the very newest of circuits around the world.
So onto the top step of the podium, René Rast and Nicky Meyer-Melnoff. Vincent Voss up there again because he is the boss of the Belgian Audi Club, Team WRT. It's Cesar Campanico and Carlos Vieira who are second on the podium. Alex Buncombe and Lucas Ordonez third on the Pro-Am Cup. Fabian Barthez and Gerard Tonelli won the Gentleman's Trophy class. But what a brilliant race. What a fantastic way to start the 2013 FIA GT series we've had. And it all started an hour and 20 minutes ago. So the race started under the safety car conditions, and Sebastien Loeb led the way ahead of Nicky Meyer-Melnoff, and that super slow-mo shows you exactly the kind of conditions they were dealing with. Big moment there for Carlos Vieira, managed to hold it, and then we had this moment, didn't we? Afanasiev pushing the Ford onto the grass.
I mean, totally unaware the Ford was in that sort of blind three-quarter vision of the Mercedes-Benz. Nothing happened, and there was no penalty as a consequence. It was something that was not intentional.
Look how close the cars were coming through turn 1 towards turn 2 at the end of the first lap. Really spectacular stuff. But up at the front, it was Sebastien Loeb who got away. We expected him to pull away from Nicky Meyer-Melnoff. He didn't. Sergei Afanasiev gave Ricardo Zonta a knock. Zonta gave Afanasiev a knock and sent him off into the barrier. Afanasiev was given a drive-through penalty for that. And Karen Chandok ages ago as well, we saw being punted into a spin. Great battles right throughout the field. And then we had Nicky Meyer-Melnoff and Sebastien Loeb battling hard, but once that got taken over, René Rast had the lead of the race, and Alvaro Parent went into the side of him.
Yeah, so it just was a case of who got out of the pit lane first. The McLaren did their stop earlier than the Audi, Audi just sneaked out with Rene Rast, but he got tagged by Alvaro Parent. And then, of course, we had to see the drive back through by Rene Rast. Superb drive.
Yep, that was on board with Alvaro Parent as that incident occurred. Then we had Edward Sandstrom force his way up into third place, very, very forcefully, getting past Alan Day. And then, for this reason, the belts came off Sebastien Loeb before he came into the pit stop, so he was handed a drive-through penalty. And when he came out, he was just in front. Well, this is going back actually to the earlier pit stop, isn't it? And then Rene Rast managed to close in and overtake. Then on the final lap, brilliant work from Laurens Vanthoor, past 2 cars in 1 lap.
Yep, and he just shows if you are determined and you've got the commitment, you can make things stick.
Well, what a fantastic way to start the season. Rene Rast and Nicky Mermanov won the Pro-Am Cup. The Pro Cup was won by Edward Sandstrom and Frank Stippler. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you at Zolder in 3 weeks' time.